jeweler since 1952. Their customers keep coming back time and time again, generation after generation. You'll find a large selection of fine quality jewelry for any budget and for most any occasion. And they feature in-house jewelry repair, and layaways are welcome. So start your tradition today with a visit to Straps Jewelers, 315 East Main Street in downtown Lincoln. Online at strapsjewelers.com and like them on Facebook too.
Get ready to do more, see more, and conquer more for less. Suzuki Quad Fair 2019 is happening now at MS Power Sports in Gastonia. For a limited time only, save big from the seat of your new Suzuki King Quad ATV with low financing or great customer cash along the entire lineup of King Quad models. For long winding trails and that long list of jobs, nothing's built like a King Quad. Come into MS Power Sports today at 4804 Wilkinson Boulevard in Gastonia or visit mscycles.com. It's rude to keep your new King Quad waiting.
Tug those seatbelts tight. It's going to get ugly now. Here they come.
The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series playoffs.
Miami on the line as they go back to turn one.
Playoff race 7.
They're side by side.
And the championship battle.
One more try.
Intensifies in Martinsville.
He shoves him up the racetrack.
The first date of 500.
Man, that got physical coming off turn number 4.
Sunday at 2 on the Motor Racing Network.
The first date of 500, Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock on Carolina Country WCSL. 92.3 FM, 1590 AM, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
Isolated and alone?
That's how millions of Americans feel while experiencing a mental health crisis.
Need to talk? Our providers love to listen.
Call us now at 1-888-235-HOPE.
That's 1-888-235-4673.
Partners, improving lives and strengthening communities in North Carolina. 1-888-235-HOPE. 235-4673.
Once Upon a Time is right now. Escape to the Renaissance Festival, a time-traveling adventure. Huzzah! Saturdays and Sundays, October 5th through November 24th.
You'll love the Renaissance Festival.
Incredible value, wondrous entertainment, and delicious food.
Eat, drink, be merry at the Renaissance Festival. Saturdays and Sundays, October 5th through November 24th. Don't miss it. Too jolly good. There's music, comedy, circus entertainments, a giant crafts market, jousting nights, and a feast all rolled into a non-stop great family adventure. Presented by Pepsi. Discount tickets at Hedis Tita stores or print your own online at renfestinfo.com. Renaissance Festival, here I come.
Visit Lake Norman for amazing adventures, award-winning dining, and lots of outdoor fun. Visit Lake Norman, the lakeside of Charlotte.
Is the cost of ink driving your profits down? Then listen up. Discount Ink Jet and Toner is here to help. Discount Ink Jet and Toner specializes in refilling ink jet and toner cartridges. Cut your ink costs by as much as 50% or more. Discount Ink Jet and Toner, located on 410 East Franklin Boulevard in Gastonia. 100% satisfaction guaranteed.
Chosen breed, you don't see too many like me. Cause I am one of the reasons you do what you do when you wanna be me instead of you. Cause I am still on beat, showing love to the streets. Come on, you know me, cause that's who I am.
And good morning. Today on Saturday Morning Sports Talk, we have in the house tonight, or today, a Ghostbuster, a penguin, a ugly dressed woman, and a guy who would be known as the Dark Lord because he's too good to put on a costume. So, and then of course I'm Nick Fury. So,
turn us on there.
There we go.
How about that,
Yeah.
JP?
80% is pretty good.
80% of what?
80%, yeah.
Yeah.
You're 0%.
It's 80%. I mean, you passed. It's good.
Happy Halloween weekend, folks. If you're watching online, 4 of us are in the spirit. 1 of us has no spirit. If you could imagine, if you had to guess, it's not JP that is not in spirit. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Nick Fury is in the house running the board today, folks. If you're watching in the top right corner, he's in charge of the scores, the phones, and everything else. So if you call, ask for Nick Fury. Now it looks like he only has one eye in there, so I don't know how he's going to pull this off today. He's pretty bad with 2 eyes. At least maybe both his hands will be working. Over to my right in your top left corner, watching on YouTube this morning, it's Egon from the Ghostbusters. Egon Cinefani is in the house. Tom Cinefani, good morning,
I collect
Tommy.
molds, fungus, and spores.
The professor is in the house. Mr. Cinefani, Tom Cinefani. Good morning, Tommy. Over beside him in the next box in your top right, this is the Penguin. I was told he was going to wear a Redskins jersey and be a loser today, Terry.
I decided not to do that.
But he decided not to do that.
I saw this and I was like, you know what? I thought I would just come in here as Batman's nemesis, Penguin.
Okay.
Literally Penguin. That's I knew you'd say something, but it's literally Penguin.
A Penguin.
A Penguin.
A Penguin. So
Yes.
Nick, are you the one of the ones that had the rocket on your back in the?
Yes.
Well, whichever Batman it was. Was that Returns?
That was exactly me.
That was exactly
me. Just like
now,
people. Yeah, that was me.
Now, Tom and I and JP and everyone voted before the show started. Terry had all these options. He has 9,000 hats. He's got a room full of helmets. We've got 10 helmets in here. Just one thing he had to put on. What is that hat, Terry?
Do what?
What does that hat do? What?
Catholic football.
He wears the Charlotte Catholic football.
So is that what it is, FC? Catholic football? Did you could have put on some rosary beads or something, look a little more authentic. I do have a monk costume you could have wore.
A monk. Yeah.
Terry, I got an Appalachia snuggie you put on.
Yeah, I mean, could you?
Now, what we voted on, folks, if you're watching, is for him to have to wear the Browns dog pound hat. And
only time that would ever happen
and since
is if
Hunter
they play
lost,
each other.
Yeah.
And since the Bandy's Trojans lost to West Lincoln, we said, well, if Hunter puts on the West Lincoln hat and then Terry puts on the Browns hat, then we're
I
good
started to
go.
wear my Trojans hat.
Your Trojans.
Oh,
You
yeah.
should have.
I started to.
He said he was going to be Coach Loman.
Coach Loman.
Yeah.
Which one? There's so many of them over there. Trent. Oh, so you're going to be a state champion?
Well, that's all he had to do
Missouri?
was put Loman on his shirt with a Bandy's hat. That's what
I was about to say, are you gonna be Randy?
Yeah.
You
And
gonna be
so
Randy?
if you're listening and not watching,
love me some Randy.
the
That's
back
a good man.
I'm Kevin Hastings. I'm the backup quarterback today. My Halloween costume is Cam Newton's pregame and postgame outfits. So if you're listening on the radio, tune in today. Check me out, and Coach Catholic over here, the Pope sitting to my left. Not doing too well this year in the football, are they, Jerry?
Did they win last night, Terry?
Who?
Catholic.
Your team.
Catholic. I don't know. Didn't check.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh!
No spirit.
No spirit. We asked him a question. He did not know the answer to.
There you go.
That's crazy.
It seems pretty normal.
Hunter.
Charlotte Catholic defeats Parkwood 23-14 in a barn burner here where there were no points scored in the second half.
There you go.
Yeah, that right
All
there. You
total
could take a nap.
defense.
You could take a nap.
crazy.
You know?
That's what happened to Shelby. They couldn't score in the second half.
Well, all the Catholic fans, there was not
Shelby
much to
play.
watch. Not much to watch
they
in the
did.
second half.
Shelby football. They played last night.
Terry.
In whose mind? In whose
Tom, what was the
mind?
score of y'all's game at halftime?
The score is 42-0.
Yeah.
All right, so y'all at least didn't get shut out in the
It
second
was
half.
nappy nap time.
All right, well, good morning, everybody. Happy Halloween. Tune us in on YouTube. Check us out. Rewatch the show if you're out and about, listen on the radio, and check us out. We're Halloween spirit, except for Coach Catholic over here. The Crest Chargers won last night 43-0 over the North Gaston Wildcats. Actually, not last night, Thursday night. And then we're going to let's go over other games real quick. North Lincoln Knights won last night 43-7 over Newton Conover.
Easy.
Thomas Jefferson 40-0 over Bessemer City. They have a slightly better recruiting program, Tom, than we do.
They do.
So got out recruited last night. Now up in Lawndale, I want to give the sweep in Lawndale this week for the Burns fans and Foster and everywhere else up there. The Burns Eagles on Wednesday won their back-to-back county championship 16-6. Thursday night, the only JV game for Cleveland County teams, the Burns Bulldogs win 41-28. And then Friday night, the Burns Bulldogs varsity team wins 49-0. What's up, Boykins? Will Boykins in the house. I'm the backup quarterback. What's up, man? How you doing? Good morning, Will. Join the house. Will's ready for his Mitchem's kitchen.
Will, what are you dressed as?
I am a Green Bay Packer fan.
Hey, Will is a Green Bay Packer football salesman.
I am a 13-time world champion. That's what I'm dressed up like.
He counts that, so Tom gets to count the Browns
everybody gets to go back and count.
How many y'all got,
Tom?
Before history?
7 or 8. Back in the 50s, we won.
I'm sick of that argument.
Is that okay with you?
Okay,
can
so
the Browns say that?
So
can the Browns say that?
Did
Just
they
say yes.
did they win the NFL World
Just
Championship?
say yes. That's all I need you to say.
Did they win the NFL World Championship?
At some point.
NFL World Championship when they only had 4 teams. I guess that's good.
I mean,
that's great.
Listen.
Before history started, y'all won championships.
Let me tell you something.
Before history.
Before history started, it was a thing called World War II. Do you still count that? Because I know we still celebrate and honor the soldiers that died at Pearl Harbor.
We went there. That's where we're going. First thing in the morning. Will walks in, hadn't took a bite of his biscuit, and we're comparing
laughs at
the
you.
Green Bay
Cowboys.
Packers football titles to Pearl Harbor.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm so sorry, folks. Good
I want to talk about something with some salience here. I'm looking at the schedule. I was talking about this last night. That South Point barely gets by RS Central. Surprised me a little bit, Terry, when I came in the station.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go to Chase. Do they win next week and set up the big one with Shelby, Terry, or does Chase upset the Red Raiders? South Point has to go to Chase. What do you think?
No. South Point beats
No. You think? Then
Oh.
why did RS Central give them such a tough time? Did you hear what happened last night? Was there turnover? Somebody get hurt? What's going on?
I don't think it. I mean, I don't care who you are. When you play South Point, whether they're good, bad, or whatever, it's still kind of hard for your, and I'll put it like this, your linebackers to adjust to play to the South Point Red Raiders.
Okay, here's another one. Say that South Point gets by Chase. Set up a big one with Shelby. If South Point can knock off Shelby somehow, which by the look on your face, I don't think you think that can happen.
That's not going to happen.
But if it does, Terry, who's your champ in the Southwestern 2A?
Well, I guess you go to that little hat trick.
You would have to do
Why would you do that, though, y'all? Now, I still don't like determining 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, that would be. I mean,
because number 3 is going to get ripped.
Oh yes.
Or somebody else is not going to want number 3 to come to their house.
So you're saying, so you're saying is it might be better for Burns to have Shelby knock off South Point because then Burns is a solid number 2.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's a 3-way tie, you may end up as number 3 and saddle up. You're riding to daggum Ashe County or somewhere for your first round play.
But I would not want to be the team that you're coming to play.
Right.
I mean,
correct.
that would be me. I just would not be anywhere, and this is how I put it, as simple. Shelby, South Point, or Burns, anywhere they go, their name's going to speak for itself. And Burns is really, since they fell from 3A to 2A, there's a lot of people that do not want to play Burns.
Right. Especially this team.
Yes.
Especially this team. So, I mean, I just looking at the calculus behind that, I was wondering last night, I thought South Point and Shelby might have played next week, but it is 2 weeks. Burns should get by RS Central. I don't know. It kind of made me a little nervous how well they played South Point. And then you have
South Point don't have Kawan Pride.
Yeah, they don't. But
Yeah,
they
plus RS was playing at home.
Yeah, they were. I mean, but still.
They don't have Keyone Pride.
Yeah, I mean, but that
Burns
was
do.
Yeah, but it was an absolute dogfight.
I'm gonna tell you something.
Don't forget RS was number 1 at some point.
I'm glad you said this because we went over this in our pregame show with all the things that Pryor has done. I don't know how many touchdowns he had last night, which is probably more last night than he's had all year, but he's only had 3.
Yeah, he only had 94 yards rushing because the every drive started about at 50 yards. Or
they
plus
never
territory.
got on Burns' side of the field. They played on East Gaston's side the whole first quarter.
I mean,
almost.
it was terrible. I mean,
Yeah.
it was just bless their hearts, East Gaston.
But
I
how
think they're going
come
to be.
a guy with all that talent, and I know it's coaching and what you do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, but he only has 3 touchdowns. I mean, do they not give him the ball when you're close to score?
You talking about Pryor?
Yeah.
Only had 3 touchdowns all year?
Coming into last night?
No, he had more than that, Terry. I don't know how many exactly. I have to look it up. Max Preps might have
Does
had
he
that.
has?
Oh, yeah,
You sure?
he's got. I've got it written down in a notebook somewhere.
Well,
but he's
okay.
got more than
I was
that.
there when they played Chase.
How many did he have
2.
last night?
He had 3 last night.
Okay, yeah, I knew he had a lot last night.
I just know in the videos, cut the videos. I know of 2 that he's had just off the top of my head because it was the exact same play and run. It looked like the old Emmitt Smith lead draw. Keyone came right in the tackle at the safety, shook the safety out of his shoes, took a right, and went right up the sideline. If you watch them side by side, it's the exact same play, and the safeties and everybody did the exact same thing. It looks like like a copy of itself. I think one was against Chase. And I can't
Okay, well,
remember
that's
the
what
other
I was wondering because
Yeah.
when I come in, I thought
that's way wrong.
this guy only had 3 touchdowns.
You
I'm
really
like,
can't-
if everything this guy does,
And you really can't stack the box too much against him because if you do,
He's gonna bounce it out.
if he bounces it outside, he's gone
Yeah.
because you've got everybody up close to the line. So he is difficult to defend. I'm not sure, like Kevin seems to think that a lot of 2A teams are going to have a hard time stopping. They don't have the defense to stop him.
Well, let's say you got 1 guy or 2 guys that can catch Keyone or be as fast as him. You can plan to run the other side in the 2A, and if they're playing 3A, the other team's got DBs that can kind of keep inside.
There's a difference in being as fast as Keyone
and getting angles.
But you got to be as shifty
You
as
gotta grab
Keyone
him.
too.
Right.
I
That's
mean,
the
I've
thing.
seen him come through holes that
he does.
They wasn't even
He
holes.
can stand in the middle of this table and we not put a hand on him.
He
The 5 of
He
us.
doesn't need a hole. He needs a crease.
He need a crease.
Oh, yeah.
That's all
And we seen that. I was
yeah.
telling you that me and Kevin was at the Jamboree, but that's the only game we went to together this year.
I think so.
And I like when they bring Hopper in, then they can put Pryor in the slot, and now they can run that little pop pass to him.
I mean, y'all run the
they can put
option
him.
with
They can put him out in space.
Hopper
I like
on the
having both of them on the field, but they seem to like Pryor in the backfield as opposed to being in the slot more. They run that formation a lot more, but I like it when they put 2 of them because
I think he's being recruited more as his slot player.
And then you've been trying to chase Pryor, and now tackle Hopper is going to run right over you and smack right into
that's
you.
a
I mean,
load.
it's tough. He's a load.
Kevin, you gonna like this?
Yep.
I lay claims on C.J. Hopper too.
Good. I'm sure you do, Tom. Every person that ever has won an award at KTC, Will
It's
Boykins,
been from the
Will
Will
it's
Boykins School
it's
of
Will's
Football.
cousin, or they played for him.
There was something also. If we're talking local football about
Madison Bumgarner is his 3rd cousin.
Oh yeah,
no, that was yours.
Did you read the article on Isaiah Best? Because I just saw it and I didn't read the whole thing. Is he approaching the passing yards record or touchdowns record or something like that? Somebody did a report on that, and I was
I'm
in
not
the
sure
morning.
he might
It was
be.
in the morning, and I just kind of
Talking
looked
about
at the highlight.
Cleveland County or Shelby's?
It might be for Cleveland County.
I'm
I have
not-
to
I'm
look
not-
that
I'm
up.
not I'm not
I have
100%
to look
sure on
that up, but I figured one of you guys might know. Is he?
I'm sure he's
threatening
close because he's played more games. It's just as many games as once you've played 2 years at quarterback. A lot of the quarterbacks they play like Darquez and RJ. They didn't play more than 2 years, and they got 1 or 2 in, and they just started passing a few years ago too.
Yeah, they just
as Shelby did.
I think,
There's probably a good chance that he is
Here is
at it.
yeah.
RJ got the, but it's ever since they went to the pass, since Shelby went to the pass, the quarterback of each year has broken the quarterback previous year.
Okay, here it is. He is the school leader in career passing yards. Best has over 6,200 passing yards.
We got a special guest here today, folks. Joining the
up
show
from Florida.
in just a minute after in the next break. Welcome. The backup quarterback is hosting the show today, Philip Russ. I've got the Penguin.
I'm just glad he's natural.
I've got Egon. I've got the future coach of the Green Bay Packers over here, and then I've got
No spirit,
I've
Terry.
got the Catholic Cougar, over here, Terry Reinhardt here today. Philip Russ is in the house all the way. He came all the way from Florida this morning.
All the way from Florida.
Just to eat a Mitchem's
liver.
Just to eat a Mitchem's
Oh,
kitchen.
am I chopped
Hold
liver?
on. Philip, Jay, if you didn't know, JP's in there complaining because I didn't call his name out too. So JP has not changed one bit. Nick Fury is in the house, hosting in the top right corner for you folks watching online. I guess what is Nick? He says Nick Fury has no powers.
No.
He's just an evil genius or something like that.
He's just
See,
the
Lex Luthor?
head guy of S.H.I.E.L.D.
That means nothing to me and Terry. I don't know. Does it mean anything to you, Terry?
He lost me when I just saw him. That's all I had to do.
Did you think he's the Monopoly guy, a pirate? What did you think he was?
Well, I have no idea what he is. That's just as simple.
Yeah, okay.
He's Samuel L. Jackson in the movie.
Okay, Samuel L. Now, we gotta get some JP drop some language, MFers or something.
Whoa, FCC, FCC.
In the break. I want to hear JP let it fly up and down the hall. Mountain Island won 56-0 last night. Community School of Davidson Falls Union Academy 43-37. Chase 55-30 at East Rutherford. Hunter Huss 20-7 at Forest View. West Lincoln 27. What was that? I can't see over
17.
I was going to ask Hunter, Terry, but
I can see it.
I know you can see. Let's look at it's 27-17.
Feel pretty good about that one.
Over Bandies. To twist the knife even worse for Hunter's night, with 2 seconds on the clock last night, the Maiden Blue Devils kick a field goal to beat the East Lincoln Mustangs, 28-26.
We're Bandies.
So Lincoln in 40-37 winners. Late E.J. Mangeris touchdown winner over to pull out a win at home versus Lake Norman Charter, 40-37. Absolutely, congratulations to E.J. Mangeris. Ashbrook wins 36-35, their first victory of the season. And Philip, you ain't been here this year, so that's Ashbrook's first victory. Gets the same week as Highland Tech gets their first victory in week 10. How many times have you ever heard that? Highland Tech 36-6 over Christ the King. South Point squeezes one out up in Hilltopper land, 29-22 versus RS Central.
That was a good game. It kept going back and forth at the end.
He was following that. West Caldwell falls at Patton, 27-15. High Brighton, 48-14 versus East Burke. The Bunker Hill Bears win 17-13 against West Iredale.
In that conference now.
Yep, they are. They've had a good season. They beat Bandies, I think.
Yeah.
Had to slide in. Alexander Central 30-16 over St. Stephen's. Hickory 40-30 over South Caldwell. And Watauga 62-14 over McDowell. JP, we got to take a break. We're going to get Phillips seated and situated. We'll be right back in a minute on KDC Broadcasting.
Country Gold with Terry Clark.
I'm Terry Clark, inviting you to join me for Country Gold, where we play your favorites from the 80s and 90s. My guest this week will be Billy Ray Cyrus. We were label mates and toured together in the 90s. Last month, we actually sang his hit song, Achy Breaky Heart, at the Canadian Country Music Awards. That's Billy Ray Cyrus with me on Country Gold with Terry Clark.
Country Gold with Terry Clark, Thursday afternoons at 1 o'clock on Carolina Country WCSL, 92.3 FM and 1590 AM, and online at kdcbroadcasting.com. Who are you? You're not a goat. Oh, you say you feel like a goat since you didn't buy your car from Renato Auto Mall in Shelby. And now you're putting up with a bunch of bull. Don't be like my friend here. You get no bull at Renato Honda and Renato Kia at Renato Auto Mall in Shelby, 4423 East Dixon Boulevard. Don't let another dealer get your goat.
Hi, this is Vince Hefner, pastor of the First Baptist Church in Cherryville. I'd like to share with you my favorite passage of Scripture in God's Word. Philippians 4, verse 8 tells us this, "And now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Keep putting into practice all that you have learned and received from me, everything you heard from me and saw me doing. Then the God of peace will be with you." This is Vince Hafner, pastor of the First Baptist Church of Cherryville, reminding you God loves you.
Unless the Lord builds a house, its builders labor over it in vain. This is from Psalms 127, and this verse is what Key Builders in Lincoln is built on. Key Builders in Lincoln is large enough to do what the big boys do, but small enough to be personal. Bring your own plans or visit the website at keybuildersnc.com and view theirs. They have homes for everyone, so call your local hometown builder. Key Builders, 704-735-0040, or visit their office at 1459 North Aspen Street in Lincoln. Like them on Facebook, too.
Claire Snyder of North Lincoln High School is this month's McDonald's KTC Broadcasting What's Up Shopper Scholar Athlete of the Month. Claire is a cheerleader at North Lincoln and is the daughter of Elisa and Stephen Snyder of Denver. Claire is a senior and has a grade point average of 4.58. Her advanced courses include AP World History, AP Physics, AP Psychology, AP Statistics, AP U.S. Government, AP U.S. History, AP Environmental Science, AP English Language and Composition, AP Chemistry, AP Calculus, AP European History, AP Biology, AP English Literature Composition, and AP Human Geography. Claire attends the Pursuit Church as a child care volunteer and a member of the youth group. In the community, Claire works as a YMCA summer camp counselor and child care associate. She assists the special needs cheer team, works for Habitat for Humanity, and tutors. After graduation, Claire plans to pursue a BS degree at a 4-year university and master in physical therapy concentrating on pediatrics. The Scholar Athlete of the Month is sponsored by McDonald's, What's Up Shopper, and KTC Broadcasting. It's time to tee it up at Kings Mountain Country Club, open to the public 7 days a week. Play and ride 18 holes Monday through Friday for $28. Play and ride 18 holes on weekends for $40. And seniors 55 and older can play and ride Monday through Friday for just $24. For your tee time, call 704-739-5871 for the Kings Mountain Country Club, 100 Country Club Drive in Kings Mountain.
Check out the monthly specials at the Cherryville Country Club, open to the public with no reservations required. It's prime rib the first Friday of each month, crab legs the second Thursday and Friday of each month, steak and wine on the third Thursday and Friday of each month with fresh hand-cut steaks. And it's fish camp night, the fourth Thursday and Friday of each month. And don't forget about their Sunday buffet from 11 to 2. And the chicken on the run bucket, Sundays, 8 pieces of chicken, 2 sides and rolls for $14.50. The Cherryville Golf and Country Club, Roy Acre Road, Cherryville.
And welcome back to Saturday Morning Sports Talk with Kevin and the gang. They're getting geared up. I don't know if they're on yet or not.
We're on. We had sorry, Coach Pruitt, we got you on hold. Coach Tim Pruitt, Cherryville Ironman. I didn't know you was on hold till I went to break there. You guys opened this week, and you finished Pine Lake Prep in Bessemer City here in the Southern Piedmont 1A. Got a special guest, Philip Russenhouse, all the way from Florida in Halloween weekend. So he's interested to hear more about this Southern Piedmont 1A. Coach, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good to talk to you guys.
We were filling our mouths up with breakfast about and wasting some time. I hope you've had a good week and getting ready for the final 2 weeks of the season, Coach.
Yeah, definitely is we talked about having some rest. We got some rest this week. Had Tuesday off. Seniors were on a trip up to Western Carolina, Morris Hill. They always get back late. We usually take Monday off and then Friday off. But this week we went Tuesday, so we got a day in on Monday and then 2 good days on Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday was a little bit shorter practice. Every year we try to do a thing to honor former classmate Noah Hampton. And the day he passed away, we did a little Carolina tag game. So the last 4 years we've kept that tradition going. Noah's favorite color was red, so if somebody came by the field Thursday afternoon, they saw a blue team and a red team play and a white team and a red team play. And then the 2 teams that won got together, and Dylan Harden's team beat Scott Harrell's team. But Coach Harrell says I changed the rules on him, but beat them at the end of the game, and we had a really good time. And there were, I believe it was 9 former classmates / alumni or teammates that came back to participate who had graduated or had once played at Cherryville High School. So glad to have those guys back, and a great experience. And they got to hear Tavion talk about Noah and his friendship, and they got to hear Coach Harrell talk about what it meant to coach someone like Noah. So I think that was great from our young perspective of our freshmen who didn't know who Noah Hampton was, up to our senior guys who remember that experience. So that's just something that you do each year for the people that are important to you in your life, and Noah was definitely one of those people.
Well, great things what y'all do with that, Coach, and we'll try to get the word out as well. And if you guys help
indeed.
you if we can.
appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can bring the guys in and get together, and I know Coach Harold does some with the basketball and everything, and so but it's always a good thing. And I love the little Carolina football that you guys do with that.
Right. Well, appreciate it. You know, and that's the thing too. When you heard those guys talk, you know what it means to be in a small town where your teams and your friendships last forever. So we're excited about the next couple of weeks, and you know, Pine Lake Prep team that's really they beat the same teams in our conference that we've beat. So this is probably a game that would you know, go toward those standings, and also a game that's, you know, one game plus us getting to the state playoffs. So that's what we're trying to do over these last 2 weeks for sure.
Well, Coach, let's see, you got Pine Lake Prep and finish at Bessemer. Coach Russ here just left Bessemer. He said they had a tough game last night. We're going to talk more with him about that in a bit. Bessemer had a tough game with Thomas Jefferson last night. It seems like everybody is. Jefferson in the class of the conference this year. That leaves a couple of you fighting for playoff spots here in these last 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, you know, Mountain Island, they got a chance to play. Got a chance to play Thomas Jefferson again, and I think Mountain Island's probably a little healthier than they were earlier in the year. They feel like they've got some things straightened out, and obviously they've been kind of steamrolling some people as well. So that'll be interesting to see when they play. I guess they play this coming week. It always seems like Thomas Jefferson and Union Academy play the last game of the year, but I'm not sure of the schedule, to be quite honest with you. But just, you know, thinking about what we can control and how we can play, and those are some things we try to work on this week. You know, Pine Lake's a completely different Pine Lake team. Somebody shows up on Friday night expecting to see the two tight end wishbone out of Pine Lake. You might as well come on and get ready to see a game that's probably going to last a little while, because they're going to throw it around the yard a lot. They line up in doubles or trips almost every single play. Their coach, Coach Trotter, used to be at Lake Norman. He's a new coach, and actually me and him coached against each other. He was a young coach at Lake Norman High School in 2003, 2004 when I was at West Wilkes. We played 2 games against each other. We communicated with that, got that connected just earlier today. So Coach Trotter, I think, is doing a really good job. Got a lot of kids out. He says he had 14 returners off the team, and he had to recruit the halls with his 14 returners, and they've got quite a few really good athletes out there. And they have a freshman quarterback who is, I think, a really tough kid, and a sophomore quarterback. So they play both of them, and it should be an entertaining game.
Well, Coach, tell us a little bit about what's going on with Little Ironman.
Little Ironman are playing the Rebels today over at Lincoln High School, so I hope everybody get a chance over there and get to see our Little Ironman play. Our JV team won last week, 22-0. First, we won a forfeit earlier in the season, but first win of the season. And of course, Monday I was at the FCA event. Austin Robinson, our FCA person here in Gaston County, hosted Steve Smith, who did a Q&A, and that was really an eye-opening experience. Steve talked about what's your why. He talked about the man in the glass. He talked about the things that are important and how we live our lives, and how, you know, sometimes in life we go through rocky times and rough roads, and there's an answer to those things if you just keep your head up and keep looking for it. But we got to experience that. But with our team coming forward, hopefully we can keep improving ourselves as well.
All right, Coach, we're about to talk a little college football, and
hold on, now I know what I forgot.
Okay.
I forgot. I listened to Miss Little Ironman practice on Monday night. So you know what I forgot to do?
What?
I didn't get to deliver my 0 bar. So any of those Little Ironman teams that have a shutout win, Coach Pruitt delivers them 0 bars. So Landry's team got 0 bars Tuesday night, since I was able to make it to practice on Tuesday night, since I didn't have practice. Sorry. I hope the Mountaineers keep dodging thunderstorms and tornadoes down there in Alabama, and that's from a serious note. I mean, you look at the weather of Texas last week, and then I heard there was a actual tornado in Mobile yesterday. So, you know, if I was in charge of that game, I might move it back to where all those thunderstorms pass instead of start a game and have to stop and put people in danger. But, you know, we'll see what happens today. Hopefully they'll go down there and play well against South Alabama and get ready for a Halloween game against Georgia Southern. Don't need to look ahead. If you think about what happened in Wisconsin last week, you got to win them all. And I think that's something Coach Drinkwitz talks about, one game at a time. So
right.
That's what their focus is.
Well, Coach, you know, these guys poo-pooed when I said that they're favored by 27 in Alabama this weekend. And then, but what I do want to know is, how big of a travesty is it that Michigan, with 2 losses, is ranked ahead of Appalachian State right now, and they know they don't want no more. They don't want to come to Boone.
Say they don't want that smoke.
They don't want that smoke in Boone, do they, Coach? He knows. He knows.
I know one thing. We probably ain't gonna see Michigan this year. If we make it to the Group of 5, to the whatever, the New Year's 6. But we need SMU to lose a game. So unless SMU loses a game, I don't think it's going to matter a whole lot. But we could leap them with the South Carolina win. I would hope that a North Carolina, South Carolina win in an undefeated season would be more important than a SMU undefeated season. And I don't really know who all they play. But it's just a one. You're glad to be in that conversation.
Right.
But when the season ends and you still got to win the Sun Belt Conference Championship game and you want to go undefeated, there's a lot of things that got to happen between now and then. And,
I just know SMU gets caught cheating all the time, so they shouldn't be ranked ahead of us either, right? In every sport,
hey,
right?
I saw that game, and they said Sonny Dykes was there, and he had 32 new players on his team from the little team last year. So, yeah, he did a good job of getting people in there.
I bet they did.
But with that said, you got to play who you play and go against what you got. And we're excited to get a game against Pine Lake Prep. And good luck to the Mountaineers. And, hey, I've said it. My wife, she's at the hair appointment right now. She's not listening, but if they make it to the New Year's 6 and play in Dallas, Texas, which is what it said, they're going to go to the Cotton Bowl.
I'll be there for that.
I might be in the Jerry world to see that.
Yeah, I'll
one.
be there.
We'll see how it rolls. Yeah. All right. Sounds good. We'll make a trip together. Okay?
All right, Coach. Thank you.
See you guys. Thank you.
All right, Coach Tim Pruitt and Cherryville. They didn't play this week. Next week on WCSL, they'll be against Pine Lake Prep, and then they'll be at Bessemer City. That Bessemer City game will be on YouTube video. We did that one last night on YouTube against Jefferson. It got ugly. Bessemer had a few turnovers there early. When you're playing against a good team, run the option. It's tough to come from behind like that in the field.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Thomas Jefferson's had their number for the last 3 or 4 seasons.
Right.
So, I mean, it's got to be a tough one to swallow if you're in Yellow Jacket Nation because
someone commented last night that East Rutherford beat Bessemer City last night, 40-0.
That was you.
Not
that someone would be you, sir.
I think Dennis had something to do with that too. All right, well, Phil, real quick, tell us about your football last night. You said a close game.
Yeah.
How's it going down in Florida right now?
I'll be honest with you. I'm coaching football, and that's all that I know. I don't understand the playoffs, the RPI, the scheduling, because I've walked into probably a pinnacle of high school football. I felt like the first week, when we went to a jamboree game, I was like, okay, this is like Cleveland County football. And then they started talking about RPI and opponent scores and opponent scores and percentages, and that equals in your record. Going into
I think I got fuzzy math.
I'm telling you,
that's official.
That's something to explain on of how they determine playoffs. Last night going in, we were ranked 7th in the ESPN Treasure Coast poll. We played pretty much our biggest rival, failed 22-21 in overtime. But Treasure Coast High School was probably the only high school that reminds me a lot about being at home.
Yeah.
They're the old school Shelby. They ran the buck sweep. So if you took Shelby's old offense with Coach Norman and mixed it with Tom Sain's wing T at West Lincoln, you mix those offenses together. That's pretty much what the Eagles faced against last night. And, they fall to the bitter end. A team didn't have a kicker. I mean, you think in the state of Florida and you're an 8A school and you don't have a kicker in the building. And they weren't able to put any kicks up, so they went for 2 every time.
8A.
Just not even an attempt to kick.
Right. I mean, and when you think about 8A and you say there's 2,600 kids in a school and you can't find a single guy to kick from the 3-yard line, kick an extra point, it kind of befuddles you a little bit. I mean, we've got 3 kickers on our varsity roster. So to go against that team last night, they were well tuned. It was kind of like the Red Bone out of South Point, But the difference is you take every athlete at Shelby, the old school Lincoln, maybe some Mallard Creek style players, and put them in that offense. I mean, it was downhill. It wasn't 3 in a cloud of dust. It was more like 11 in a cloud of dust.
So I'm guessing your defense wasn't used to that kind of assignment type defense football.
Well, no. I mean, we basically decided that we had to get out of our typical 4-3, 3-4 fronts that we run, and they went to a bear front. And Division I linebackers, they're great at going downhill, but they're not great at 6'2", 6'3" guys coming down line and, cutting up at the front and doing the things that, the wing tee and the Delaware wing tee kind of sets up those blocks. I mean, so those guys were getting trapped and getting banged. I mean, we had a good scheme. It just when you have athletes in that style of offense, like if you called and woke the boys up over, I think Coach Ponder over there at West Lincoln, if you woke him up this morning and said, "Hey, Coach, we're going to trade your fullback and wings. We're going to give you 4-3, 4-4 style running backs, and we're going to give you a quarterback that runs a 4-5." I mean, I'm pretty sure that he's going to take that on because that type of speed causes home runs about every play that you could possibly run in that offense.
Well, how about Coach Ponder over at West Lincoln this year? They ended a 27-year, 18-game streak against the Trojans that Hunter don't want to talk about. And when they beat Lincoln this year, they have won. Previously, they have won only 7 times against Lincoln by combined 39 points. This year, they won by 40.
I mean,
so the biggest win over Lincoln ever, and the other one.
The thing is, Coach Ponder is not a stranger to that school and that offense. And honestly, the way it's all set up over there, they finally got what you need in that type of offense. You need running backs. You need guys that understand the system, and you just got to have hard-nosed play. And I think that this is probably the best nucleus of players that West Lincoln's had in a long time.
We said that, yeah.
I mean, so if you've looked, I've actually kept up with you guys on Twitter and stuff, and listening to some of their games that were covered on the radio. I mean, it's just a better, well-oiled machine, and those guys were good last year. I mean, we're not talking about a team that just poof, they're good. They were competitive last year, and they were competitive the year before, and so this is something that's been in the works over there in Vail, and I think those guys are really, cashing in on some of the stock they've put into certain guys, and it's paying out for them.
So what happened to them last year is they ended up getting pushed back up into the Big 2A. They went from supposedly being a 6 or 7 seed home game in the small 2A to a 14 seed on the road at Shelby in the first round. This year they've got
done that.
Yeah, this year they're on the exact same line. Right now they're small. It's them and Bandy's is right above them. Two students separated. So West Lincoln, by the projections right now, is a 9 seed on the road at Smoky Mountain or someone like that. I can't remember exactly what it was. Or if they're in the other one, Bandy's is on the road at wasn't it Shelby? No, High Brighton or Shelby or something like High Brighton in the first round.
Well, I can tell you
that's the difference between 2 students in your school.
Now that I'm not coaching in North Carolina, I can speak a little bit about the playoff system. I mean, it's going to a different state and seeing I guess you would say the right way it's done. They're not chasing the money game. There's not 2 4A state champions. There's not 2 3A state champions. If you're in Florida, it's 1 through 8, and you have 8 state champions, but there's classifications, and it's not about ADM numbers. It's not about any of that. It's more or less charted up. This is your district, and then your district has meetings with the state. And it would be like if you were to say in this district, we would account for Rutherford County, Gaston County, Cleveland County, and then even throw in Lincoln, and that would be your district area.
Okay.
And then you would rank those teams by their size, and then you have your district built. And then those districts could talk to Rowan, Salisbury, Davie County district. And that way it kind of gives a little bit more equal. But the thing that's to our fault is, like I was telling you, it's like the way they build it up there is they went full send RPI max preps. Like, you think it's bad in North Carolina right now, but it's coming because they say everything kind of trends from places. And down there it's full max preps to the point that you get your RPI based on your schedule. And you get 30% off those points. You get 30% based off your opponent and who they play. And then the rest of the percentage comes from who their opponents play. So
sounds like college.
Yeah, so you're
It's like
affected
college.
by your opponent's opponent.
Yeah.
So like if you beat a team that's, let's just say they're ranked in the state, but their schedule, is somebody, let's just say, and it's just speaking on the Southern Piedmont 1A. One thing we always looked at Bessemer City is Mountain Island Charter. Thomas Jefferson played Johnny Homeschool and St. Thomas Charter.
JP was the starting quarterback against Bessemer City, and
and when you look at that, over there, Coach Boone always scheduled Chase. He scheduled, this year I think they
here's who's beat them this year. Thomas Jefferson's undefeated. Chase is 7-2. North Lincoln's 8-1 and lost to a 3A school in overtime. And Forest View, who beat South Point. That's
Right.
the teams that beat Bessemer.
And so Bessemer's loading up and trying to play competitive opponents to see where their guys measure up. And then you've got these charter schools who some schools actually write them off. Like I know Cleveland County schools are still not playing Thomas Jefferson. So they're having to scrape to find games. And when you're playing like the Carolina Stampede and you're playing all these different teams, how do they match up in public school against public school teams? So it really, if they come to that new system, somebody like a Bessemer City or a Cherryville in the 1A would actually be to a disadvantage.
See, that's what really hurt us. I remember a few years ago that they really did take into consideration strength of schedule when it came to high school athletics, because when I was playing soccer, my coach of our senior year said, look, they're going to value strength of schedule this year. So we're scheduling Hickory and St. Stephen's, who had just finished first and second in 3A the year before, Lake Norman Charter, who was not in the 2A conference yet, and they had just won the 1A state championship. He said, so we're scheduling monsters before we get into conference play. He said, of course, because it's going to help you get better, play higher competition, but that's what they're going to look for. He said, if you even play them close or even squeak out a win, but it didn't really help. And then the next year, he's like, well, we'll just play cupcakes then. We'll just schedule cupcakes in non-conference games.
You know, in our football schedule, to try to relay it, and my dad was on the phone, he's like, so how's your football looking? I said, well, I said, pretty much we've got Shelby, which is our easy game this week. And then we face off against Mallard Creek and like Dutch Fork, and then we have Northwestern. I was like, Dad, so if I'm putting it into the perception of what North Carolina people know of football, I said, we're playing – for the next 4 weeks in our non-conference, we're playing nothing but state champions, and it's for that RPI. And those were brutal games. We went on the road to play the number 1 team in Florida, and then I think they're number 11 in the nation, Lakeland.
You like that though?
Yeah, I mean it's cool to play on TV. You got to be careful. You got to be careful how you act and stuff. I mean, you know, it was.
Phil. You want to explain any of that, Philip?
Yeah, there might be some YouTube evidence out there for me having a little disagreement with an official. You gotta know that whenever something happens on the sideline, they tend to zoom in.
Zoom in, coach. Zoom in. Get that, coach. Look at that dude from North Carolina yelling at that referee.
You could tell too, because I've been wearing a hat and I had a bad sunburn. So when that hat came off, it was like white snow cone and then red face. So it was really interesting.
Last note, guys, we got to start talking about high school. I think Will's got to go and get out of here. Will, thanks for stopping in. We're real quick, Will. Packers this weekend?
Packers, Chiefs, Packers, go Packers.
By how many points? At least 3 or 4 touchdowns, Tom?
Don't matter. All it's got to be is 1.
All right, I just won. Packers by 1 and LSU by 1, right? It don't matter. All right. Final thought before we go. Philip, a little quick note that we was talking about last night. When they originally started the Southern Piedmont 1A, 2A with these charter teams, they were letting them in as part of a conference. Now, Cherryville and Bessemer are the only 2 public schools in the conference. So now it's completely turned around, and I thought it'd be better for like Cherryville to be like in the old conference like they used to be. What about Cherryville and Bessemer being with the Rutherford County teams right now, and the Lincoln and the West Lincolns like they used to be, and get back into that one? Even if you have to go split,
it just hurts them. The only thing is, it just hurts them on depth. But both Bessemer and Cherryville are hurting depth. At least
that's football. We got to think about all the other sports too that nobody ever thinks about. All right, we'll be back in a minute. We're going to come back and talk college football. Centophani is ready for that. He's got all his news and notes. He's got his special rankings and more. I don't know what Egon's doing over. He's been doing some fish. I'm just glad he doesn't have a paper in front of him. He's got something powered.
No, he finally gave me the Wi-Fi password. So. Hey, Coach is excited. The Buckeyes are playing big-time football finally.
I tell you what, they better be careful today, but we'll talk about it.
JP, you ready? Nick Fury, you ready? Fury, are you ready?
It's time for a break.
Is there like something special I'm supposed to say to Nick Fury? Do you have a go-to?
Nah, he's probably talking to Captain America or somebody in there.
No, he's got to keep his
really.
You don't have a saying or anything.
Hey, is that America's Behind? Is that what you're in there watching right now?
All right.
No, I'm actually watching comedy.
All right, we'll be back in I know we're sitting right here. It's worth like we'll be right back in a minute on KDCBroadcasting.com.
slams the door, they touch.
The NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series Playoffs.
Moffitt slides up the racetrack. Here comes Ross Chastain for third.
Playoff Race 5.
Ross Chastain noses out front for just a moment, but Moffitt battles back hard.
And NASCAR's truckers are playing rough in Martinsville.
He gives them a shot in the short.
The NASCAR Hall of Fame 200.
Bumper cars, chain reaction all the way back.
Saturday at 1 on the Motor Racing Network.
The NASCAR Hall of Fame 200 this Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock on Carolina Country WCSL, 92.3 FM, 1590 AM, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
Cakes and cookies, toys and gifts. Christmas at your fingertips.
It's the shopping event of the season, the Southern Christmas Show, November 14th through 24th at the Park Expo and Conference Center. Explore a woodland Christmas with forest-inspired decorations for the merriest time of year, and shop hundreds of booths to find one-of-a-kind gifts for everyone on your list. Buy tickets online and save at southernchristmasshow.com.
Let's go to the Southern Christmas Show.
Who are you? You're not a goat. Oh, you say you feel like a goat since you didn't buy your car from Renato Auto Mall in Shelby. And now you're putting up with a bunch of bull. Don't be like my friend here. You get no bull at Renato Honda and Renato Kia at Renato Auto Mall in Shelby. 4423 East Dixon Boulevard. Don't let another dealer get your goat. Who are you? You're not a goat. Oh, you say you feel like a goat since you didn't buy your car from Renato Auto Mall in Shelby. And now you're putting up with a bunch of bull. Don't be like my friend here. You get no bull at Renato Honda and Renato Kia at Renato Auto Mall in Shelby. 4423 East Dixon Boulevard. Don't let another dealer get your goat.
Head coach Mac Brown returns to North Carolina for a brand new era of Tar Heel football. The Hall of Fame coach brings his national championship pedigree back to Chapel Hill as the team begins its rise to the top of the ACC.
Ball's on the deck. Carolina scoops it up and is taking it in for a touchdown.
Catch every moment all season long right here on the Tar Heel Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Isolated and alone?
That's how millions of Americans feel while experiencing a mental health crisis.
Need to talk? Our providers love to listen.
Call us now at 1-888-235-HOPE.
That's 1-888-235-4673.
Partners, improving lives and strengthening communities in North Carolina. 1-888-235-HOPE. 235-4673.
This is Evangelist Kim Earwood with Jesus Until the Whole World Hears Radio Ministry. Join us live on Sunday mornings from 8 to 9 on 1390 AM, 1590 AM, and 101.5 FM. You can also join us at ktcbroadcasting.com worldwide. And remember, God loves you, and we do too.
And welcome back to Saturday Morning Sports Talk with Kevin and the gang. I think Kevin's chowing down on his breakfast. I'm not certain.
I didn't know Mitchem's Kitchen.
Mitchem's Kitchen Sunrise Special.
It's like a breakfast burrito.
And it's good.
Yeah, it is
That's what you got in front of you.
Oh, I can't wait to pop open.
Kevin, I have something for you. The SMU Mustangs ranked ahead of the Appalachian State Mountaineers. What do you think about that?
Did you not just hear what I said to Coach Pruitt? You didn't, did you? Obviously, we just talked about that, Tommy. I told him it is trash because they cheat at every sport, and we all know it.
Okay. Well, I'll go further to say SMU.
I must have missed that one.
SMU has.
Yeah, I don't know where you were.
They don't really have a very strong.
I was immersed in
their conference is not.
What are they?
Where it has it? The yeah, because I mean, East Carolina is.
No, I'm more upset Michigan's ranked ahead of them with 2 losses.
Okay, that's
Michigan
what I heard.
I heard
Michigan. I heard the
Iowa
Michigan.
too. I just wanted Michigan because we actually beat them before.
But see, like Minnesota's in the same boat. Who does Minnesota play?
They're at least undefeated.
Minnesota plays Maryland today, 3:30.
And see, I think that could depends on what Scotty Montgomery calls up there in the offensive play call.
Here's what I don't think is fair to Minnesota is they're undefeated at 17. They're a Big Ten team. Ohio State's number 3, and they're a Big Ten team.
Wisconsin's a Big Ten
undefeated
team, and they're
number
6-1 at
Minnesota's
13.
had a couple of close calls. There was one game.
Yeah, I know. I understand that. But obviously, this is an opinion poll by writers and then one by coaches, and that's how they do those. So,
well, I mean, if you look at Utah shouldn't be in the top 15. You take some of those teams like Florida dismantled Auburn, but then Florida got smacked by LSU, and then Florida stays ahead in 7 in the polls, and then you have Auburn just 2 spots down.
But you're going to have the SEC bias.
I know so if you didn't, I like
It's
Tom's
good
idea
football.
about the rankings and stuff. Like I always think you should wait till after 6 or 7
Wait
weeks.
till after 6 or
like
7
right now.
weeks.
If you came out right now with it and you hadn't seen it all season, there's no way Minnesota would be ranked 17th. They would obviously be closer to 12 or 10.
This is what I say too. Instead of playing,
because these
the
rankings
Alabama
matter.
Institute of Technology.
Yes.
Let's have, like basketball does, ACC Big Ten Challenge. Okay, let's do it in football. Why couldn't we do it in football for a non-league game?
I think
and it just take based where you finished in the conference last year. We're going to match you up with another Power 5 conference. And they won't want to do it. Saban won't want to do it, and all these teams
here's
won't.
The thing.
They want to play Western Carolina and all that.
That's exactly real quick before the all go. Alabama plays Western.
Final game
App
of the
won't
year.
even play
Or
them anymore.
second to last game
now,
of the year.
Now that we're Division 1, App will not even play Western anymore, and Alabama will next last game.
All right, but see,
Alabama's real quick, Phil. Alabama's out of conference games: Duke, New Mexico State, Southern Miss, and Western Carolina. Does Appalachian State not have a tougher out-of-conference game than Alabama does?
See, but I think what else? As long as you have this 4-game playoff where they're scared to death to lose one game,
right?
They're gonna do that. If you expand that playoff to maybe 8,
they won't
or
talk
12,
about expansion until 2023.
Think the schedules get better?
But I think okay, now that one loss doesn't kill us because if there's 8 spots. So then you might get more of a game worth watching in early September.
But think about
there are a few, but
think
like
about
you
if the
get
Cowboys
more
could
games
say,
worth
you know
watching.
what? Let's say we're going to play 16 games this year. We're only going to schedule 3 teams that are NFL teams that are ranked, and then we're going to play 13 XFL, CFL, and college teams. And that's basically what the top 25 teams do.
Well, here's the thing, and it tags along what Coach said. There's a sound bite, and you can look it up. Nick Saban said early on, everybody gives him all kind of crap, but at the end of the day, you find them and we'll play them. Because at the end of the day, I don't think in your top 4, if you take your top 4 teams, whoever you deem them to be, and then you find any other team that's trying to play to get in that playoff, they're not gonna agree to play a Alabama. Because Alabama's, I really believe if a Ohio State said, hey, we'll play you first game of the week, sure, let's play. I think it really is that fact that when they go and do their scheduling, nobody wants those games. Everybody's kind of like, ooh, let's just wait and see if we make the playoff, then we'll play Alabama. They don't want that. And if you chart it up and you break it down, what team out there in NCAA, other than a Western that wants to make that $10 million payday, who wants to sign up to play a non-conference game? Oklahoma State? Does Mike Leach at Washington State want to come down? UCLA? Who wants to play Alabama?
What it is chicken, you know what?
I mean,
Ohio State.
There should
in
be
recent years, they did a home and away with Southern Cal. They did a home and away with Oklahoma.
Couldn't the NCAA say?
Well, next year,
couldn't the NCAA say, "Hey guys, schedule power conference teams if you're a power conference."
I think they
like,
could do that.
There's no reason that Alabama and
next
and
year,
Duke,
if I'm not
everybody else
mistaken,
should-
Alabama starts a home and away for the next 3 years with Wisconsin.
Oh, that's good.
Well, that's cute,
That's
that's
good.
just one of the 4 though. That's my point. You got how many teams in the SEC? 14. So you could play all SEC teams if you wanted to. Then,
but
then
there's
you've got
teams in
4
the
other
SEC that's not worth playing. Alabama shouldn't have to play. They shouldn't play Kentucky because that's not a game for them. They shouldn't play Missouri.
With that said, then people will turn around and say, "Well, Appalachian don't play a tough schedule." Well, they can't help who they play.
Exactly.
And so the SEC. And my point was to Dennis and the guys last night. Vanderbilt's never won an SEC title, and they never will. What's the difference between App being in the SEC?
They haven't won an SEC title in football.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
We can talk football, but they've won SEC titles in basketball and baseball.
Right.
So App, let's say, Vandy's not going to win a football title, right? Let's say App won't either if they were in the SEC. But App's ranked 21st and Vanderbilt's not. So you can't say App wouldn't deserve to be in the Big Ten or in the ACC
you gotta know
the SEC.
The only reason why the App's ranked is because App's undefeated. You take a one-loss App team, they're unranked. And then the same token,
and it's not their fault.
No, well,
but
I would say in the past, like last year,
they can get invited SEC any day. They don't even have a North Carolina team.
They can't beat teams that are struggling in the ACC. I mean, they beat Carolina this year. Congratulations. I could see that happening. But they also took an L, like you said. They took an L to Georgia. They took an L to Miami. Miami's kind of been the biggest hit or miss program in the last couple of years, and they ran right through. So the depth's still not there. App is lucky, and they benefit from the system that they're able to play in Division I football.
Didn't USCF win a Fiesta Bowl?
What, UCF?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't they beat Georgia or something?
No.
They beat Auburn. They beat Auburn.
This is interesting. I know what you're talking about now. Alabama, Southern Cal are going to do a home and away starting in 2020. Wisconsin, Notre Dame going to do a home and away starting 2020. So maybe some of the teams.
Is that replacing the Western game, or is that one still holding strong on Alabama's schedule?
Alabama in 2020 is going to open the season in Texas. That's probably one of those college football kickoff classics.
Well,
Saturday,
Chick-fil-A
September 5th,
Big 12
against the
right,
Trojans.
SEC.
That'll be a great.
You were saying like the ACC, SEC. I mean, you've seen what happened. I mean, Duke held on for a first half. To me, it was a first half victory against Alabama. I mean, they kept the nationally number one team to 14 points in the first half, and then the second half, it obviously they bypassed them with their depth.
I think we can all agree.
In 2021, Alabama kicks off the season against the Miami Hurricanes. So I guess I got to give them a little credit. They're at least stepping up to the plate a little bit. I know, Kevin. I know they're not Michael Irvin's Hurricanes.
What about the other three games on the schedule?
Southern Miss. Again, the Aggies. You got to look out for the Aggies, Kevin. You never know.
Vanderbilt's on their schedule.
Here's the thing: I think we can all agree that the playoff has to expand.
The playoff definitely should expand, but I don't think it's.
They're also playing Mercer.
I don't think it's ever going to affect your scheduling, because here's the deal: Notre Dame's only relevant every year for two reasons. Number one, they got to be relevant to carry ABC's ratings, and number two, they don't have a conference, so they can pick and choose who they want to play for their.
They do have
their historical rivalries.
They have to play over half of their games against ACC teams, though, for them.
But I'm just saying,
last year, only 4 teams in the SEC were above 500. When you don't count the SEC.
I'll say this: Notre Dame schedules anybody.
Right.
Not only did they schedule Georgia this year, they played Georgia last year as well, and they went to Georgia this year. They were at home last year. They play Southern Cal every year. You never know which USC team you're going to get. They play Stanford every year because they know those are rivalry games. So they schedule pretty tough opponents. But when it comes to who they play in the ACC, you notice they never schedule Clemson.
Right. They only schedule like Wake Forest and some of those teams.
And I think this is when the NCAA steps in and says, look, Notre Dame, you're just going to have to commit, because there's no sense in the ACC championship game being Clemson against Pittsburgh.
Well, the big thing to me is I feel like in defense of Nick Saban, I feel like they catch the blunt every single year. I mean, year in, year out, you're talking about a team that recruits and competes at the highest level of college football, and they have the largest target on their back year in, year out on scheduling. And I think Nick Saban's to the point, like, please don't make my job easier, make RAD's job easier. You schedule our games. Like, I really feel like if you said, okay, Alabama, you're going to play, you've got Ohio State leading out. Then you're going to face a Wisconsin. Then you're going to go over here and you're going to play Texas. And then we're going to probably try to find USC.
It's easy to say all that, Philip, when it will never change. No. And there's no pressure for it to change. It's easy for Nick Saban to sit on his high horse and say that. Because with Nick Saban, and here's my point about all these college coaches that we always say are great coaches. Nick Saban ain't doing that at Duke. Steve Spurrier ain't doing that at Duke. He ain't doing that at North Carolina. Where's he doing at? Alabama. How did Nick Saban do? And and all this stuff I see online about him preaching about how you got to work hard and do this. How hard did he work in Miami in the AFC East? Bill Belichick ran him out of there so quick, it ain't even funny, and he lied to everybody in the process of it. So from him sitting on his high horse saying that, it doesn't affect me.
He's had success everywhere except Miami, because he won a national championship with LSU.
Well, and
that's a big school. That's not at North Carolina. That's not at like I said, at Duke or anywhere else.
His last interview, he said that the worst decision he ever made was leaving LSU. He should have stayed. He said that, worst decision he ever made. He said if he could go back, he would stay at LSU.
See, he never got beat before.
And this goes back to what I said about Notre Dame even needing to commit, though, because if Notre Dame plays that ACC championship game, I think they lose to Clemson, and it opens up a spot there in the 14 playoff where I believe Notre Dame had no business being in last year, because they got absolutely blown out.
I got a question for you, Phil.
Okay.
You ready for this one? Trivia question of the day. What is Mac Brown's record against Lance Ware coached college football teams?
What?
Mac Brown, what is his record against Lance Ware?
0-1.
Woo! Stat of the week, Cleveland County stat of the week.
Well, let me ask you this.
When did Mac Brown coach a high school team?
He did. He coaches at North Carolina. And Lance coaches at App State.
He's not the head coach of the App, but.
Hey, well, let me ask you this: if you're looking at these top 25 rankings,
wait, Tom. Mac used to coach at App State.
Right.
He left. The greatest thing you ever won before going to Texas, remember, a big school. The best thing you ever won in North Carolina is a Peach Bowl. Congratulations. After he left, North Carolina won 3 national championships with Richie Williams, 2 Armani Edwards, beat Michigan. Then Mac comes back to North Carolina, and we beat him there. So what's so great about Mac Brown in North Carolina?
Well, I don't know.
And he's 68. And he's 68.
Have you seen his recent recruiting
Oh,
class?
that's
going to
cute.
look real
You,
good.
you talk about him being 68 all
That's
the time.
cute.
That just means he's got experience and wisdom. Why do
Did
you
you
why
know
are you
that
hating
Mac-
on a guy who's 68
Because
years
if you're
old?
Philip, if you're 19 years old, are you relating to that guy? And are you trusting
Nick
Can't-
Saban's got to be 64.
I was gonna say Nick Saban's not
he's
relating to
He's
anybody.
at Alabama. Listen, he's at Alabama. At Mac Brown, if you're Tom at North Carolina, let's see. Why would I go there? Am I guaranteed to get a good education at North Carolina in their sports program? I don't know what I'm going to get. Let's see. Ronald Curry, they messed him up. Are you guaranteed to be with the new coaches coming? Are you guaranteed to be in the same position?
Nick Saban
when
is
you're
67 years old.
Yeah, that's cute.
But so why don't you just say 67-year-old Nick Saban? I never
Because
heard you say that.
Nick Saban did it. Okay, I also just gave you all the reasons that. We can go there. Nick Saban, how about didn't do this? He didn't lose to Appalachian State in the state when you're supposed to be the friend. He didn't lose to South Alabama, did he? No. Mac Brown did lose to App State, who he left. Then Mac Brown, and it's not his fault. Every coach would do this. Comes in. Now, Tom, if you just close your eyes, and I'm not saying names, and I said, and I'm recruiting, and you're a 18-year-old kid. Well, North Carolina's cute, but, they got a 68-year-old coach who came in. That's what they say, Tom. You can shake your head all the time. Is that not what they say, Philip? If you're a 41-year-old, who knows how long Mac will be there? Who knows what they're going to do?
Okay, all right,
Then the coach, this is what he also did. When he came in, he moved the All-American quarterback
It always
to
comes
linebacker.
back to this.
No, wait a minute. There's I got 5 other
That's where it
steps.
goes.
He's 60. Listen, you've got to be an 18-year-old kid. If I'm recruiting again, if I'm Appalachian recruiting against Mac Brown, this is what I say. Simple as that. We beat them in their house. He used to coach here. After he left, we won 3 national championships. He won 3 national championships. Then, son, would you want to go there? And then you get there, and he moves you to a completely other side of the ball after you've been the National Player of the Year at this position. Then you get beat by an in-state rival. Then against the national champion, defending national champion, you call a quarterback option with the passing quarterback to win the game. With Chaz Surratt, the option quarterback, on the bench. Son, go play for the senile coach at North Carolina, and good luck with your education.
Well,
that's my recruiting pitch, Tom.
Well, but see, my recruiting pitch, if I was Mac Brown, is Drinkowitz was at what, North Carolina State before he came, and how successful was North Carolina State?
I don't know.
Against Carolina. So if you bounce it around, there's great pitches, but Mac Brown brings the NCAA Hall of Fame coach. He does have national championship rings.
I was getting ready to say.
He left North Carolina for one reason, because North Carolina wasn't putting money in the football. They were all basketball.
Weren't paying the players enough, right?
Well, he just
we all know what it is. We all know what it is.
He wasn't getting the facilities he needed. I think that honestly, Chaz Surratt moving to linebacker, that moves him back to where he originally played at East Lincoln. He wasn't having as much success. If you look at his stat line versus what Sam Howell's done in his first freshman year, they're lucky to have Sam Howell. He should be down at Florida State trying to help that struggling program. He decommitted late and then come to Carolina and having a great year.
On Chaz, compared to the quarterbacks he was on the team last year, both the other quarterbacks that was on the team last year were 51 and 49%.
Agree.
Chaz completed 58.5. Cam Newton's MVP season was 59.5. 1% less than his MVP season. In Mitch Trubisky's first 9 games, less completion percentage than Chaz Surratt. He had 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 123 quarterback rating. Now, that's not bad. I think Chaz, he could play any position, and I think he's going to be successful. I'm happy for him that he'll play. What I'm saying, he got a raw deal because he got a new coach come in. 2 things, Phil. Yes or no? If Larry Fedora was there, would he be playing linebacker?
No.
Now, remember, before he went to Carolina, where did he commit to?
But see,
Who recruited him at Duke?
Cutcliffe.
If he was at Duke, would he be playing linebacker?
No. But he would have probably the best college quarterback coaching him at the position.
And now he's playing linebacker because
here-
Mac Brown's there.
but
Instead
here's
of
the
playing
deal.
for David Cutcliffe, he would be a quarterback.
If you go back to starting any type of program, you ask any coach in America, you've got a kid that you're bringing in that's a 5-star quarterback.
Oh, I understand what Mac Brown's
and
doing.
Mac's going to be like, Mac's basically saying, I'm coming into a new program. Do I want to take a guy who's not a winner, bring a guy in that doesn't have a record at all, and I'm going to pour into this kid, make him a winner, and I'm going to tell Chaz, look, I'll help you if you want to go to the transfer portal, or we can find a different place you could fit in the linebacker piece.
Right. I just think he should have transferred.
The
Because
problem-
when they said you're not going to play quarterback,
That's the one thing I agree with him on. That
He did it for good old Chaz did it for good old you and for the good old North Carolina Tar Heels instead of for him.
But
I would have done.
But here's what I say about the
would've
transfer
done it. I
portal.
would've
If he would have had to gone low.
What
Because
if
he can't go D1 to
would
D1.
Would Chaz still be quarterback at North Carolina if Sage would have went to North Carolina?
I don't think
and
so.
been the receiver right now.
No. And I'll be honest with you, if Chaz would have put his name in the portal and went to Wake Forest, he's not starting in front of Sam Hartman.
But that's okay.
I mean, he wouldn't even start at
But this
Wake
is what
Forest
you
now.
got. Everybody don't get real quick.
He'd
And
have to
was
sit out
saying
a year
too,
anyways.
and that's okay. Gardner Minshew, we've never heard of him, is now quarterbacking in the NFL.
Oh, I heard
how
about
many?
it.
How many?
was fifth in Heisman vote.
Time out. I've
Romo-
actually followed
I
him.
said some people.
He went from
Okay,
Troy.
we're all proving
East
ourselves. We've heard of
Carolina.
Gardner Minshew,
No,
guys. Instead of
I'm just
the
saying
point.
he went to
Tony
Troy.
Romo
Went to
wasn't
ECU
drafted.
was terrible.
How many
goes to a
quarterbacks
system.
weren't drafted? Steve McNair went to a small school. How many quarterbacks were not believed in
Cam Newton
by a
stole.
coach?
Everybody likes
Cam
Cam
Newton
Newton
got
right
run
here.
out of
He
way
stole
from
computers
Florida.
at Florida, goes to
Went to
Texas, plays
JUCO.
JUCO, wins a title, then shops himself around, and for what $600,000 gets to go play at Auburn to win a national title.
Yeah, but
I mean,
it
if
all-
we all
it all-
break it down.
If Mac Brown would have stayed at Appalachian, they would have never won a national championship. Because Armani Edwards would have been returning punts.
But see,
Well,
I-
not a quarterback.
He did go 6-5 at Appalachian
That's
State.
cute. See,
in
that's
80.
cute.
I mean,
That's
if you wanted to pull that up, we could always go back to see what Steve Spurrier did at Duke, and you
Right.
look at some of these well-touted coaches, and
that's
now
my
they're come
point.
up. You know, all I'm saying is, App's having a good year. They're very fortunate where they've got placed throughout the years, and they're playing to their strengths. I mean, to do what they've done. But if you remember, Blake Anderson, who left out of Carolina, went to Arkansas State. His first 3 years, he wins the conference championship. Duke goes into that same conference. I mean, not Duke. Appalachian State goes to the same conference, and now they've won several conference championships. So, we could easily sit here and say, well, why didn't Arkansas State, during their tenure of dominance in that conference, not play in the big bowl games? All I'm saying is you've got a team that's on the outside of Power 5 that's contending, and yes, there are less than average quality Division I teams in North Carolina. East Carolina had about 3 or 4 years where they were just outstanding. Duke's never been a football powerhouse. Carolina's never been a football powerhouse. NC State hasn't. They've always been middle, above average ACC teams. They start having a little bit of success. They get bigger name coaches in. They start winning a couple more games and play average bowl games. And then now it's in that comparison. App, for what they play, their rank, their conference, they're playing above their head. Yes.
Well, App State's known for football.
But App State goes and they beat. And everybody that sits there and says it was outplayed, they had one great game against Michigan, and now they're in the same conversation as playing against Wisconsin's, playing against big-name teams. And I think they need to play within their level.
I think we got Wisconsin next year, don't we?
But it's outstanding that they play, to an undefeated schedule. But if we're going to compare Alabama's schedule, let's go look at who Appalachian State plays.
At least conference-wise.
Yeah, look at their.
Because I could give you their non-conference.
Look at their RPI. Look at their non-conference games, and look at their points per game versus some of these teams they play non-conference.
I'll say this: I was on record saying when it came down to the coaching carousel for North Carolina, I wanted Cliff Kingsbury to come in.
Right.
And be head
I mean,
coach.
well, everybody craps on Larry Fedora. Look at his coaching carousel. How many guys left under his staff and went and became a head coach in college
real
football?
quick, Phil. Let's play this game real quick. Let's go around the room one team
We've
at a time.
played this game before. I know what we're playing.
Appalachian versus Duke.
Appalachian.
Tom, next game. Appalachian versus New Mexico State.
I think I like the Mountaineers.
Appalachian versus Southern Miss. Southern Miss. Anyone. Phil.
I'm just going to say I don't think App can beat Duke.
You don't think App can beat Duke?
I don't know. I think they could.
I mean, it just depends on what Duke team shows up. It's the Duke team that played Alabama. If it's a healthy Duke, I don't think they could beat them.
Well, you'll
I think
know
at
today,
this point of the year, I mean,
what Duke do against Tar Heels?
They play today. That's what you I was about to say.
Right.
You'll know today. They play
Duke
today.
and Carolina today, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So App could beat Western Carolina.
Yes.
All right. So
Yes.
here's the rest of Alabama's schedule that's so tough. Mississippi, are they making a bowl?
No, but they can't.
Tennessee, they got beat by Georgia State.
But these are
App's
all
gonna
losses.
beat by 50.
These are all losses to Appalachian State.
Yeah.
Appalachian would beat
I don't know
Tennessee.
if I don't know if Appalachian loses to Tennessee because they almost beat Tennessee.
Georgia
has some
State
talent,
beat-
though.
Georgia
I mean,
State
I
beat
watched them.
Tennessee.
They actually have a little bit of talent. I watched them against Alabama. They're not horrible. I think they just
Even
need
if
to
they
get it
are
together.
losses,
Listen,
Will,
I'll
what
tell
I
you,
feel,
if they-
what I'm
if-
saying is,
if they play
with
them early in the
Appalachian,
season, Appalachian
Appalachian
got it.
playing Alabama's schedule could get 6 wins on
Right,
there.
but if Alabama played Appalachian schedule, do they even
It's
lose a
just
game
Right.
or play
Well,
within
I'm not
49
comparing
points?
Alabama. Listen, that's what everybody gets into the confusion with when I compare this.
Right.
I will never compare App to Ohio State and Alabama. I'm comparing them to Vanderbilt.
Well, pull
You
up,
understand what I'm
pull
saying?
up Vanderbilt's schedule and let's
That's
see
who I'm
what,
comparing them
what
to. I'm
App
comparing
could
them
beat.
to, like, why would the SEC want Vanderbilt and Tennessee in the conference?
I got
wasting
two
space when they
teams
can have
in
a
the
North
SEC
Carolina
that I could believe Appalachian could beat. One of them's Arkansas. Arkansas has been horrible for the past 5
I
years.
don't think it's a question of could.
And
I think
Van-
Appalachian
I
probably
think
by
they
2
will.
touchdowns.
Vanderbilt,
know.
Kentucky,
I would say
Arkansas,
Vanderbilt.
Mississippi State.
I would say Vanderbilt. I think Kentucky's
We're back to
just,
smoke South Carolina.
to me, Kentucky's just having a down year
South
because they
Carolina's next
lost.
week, right? South Carolina is next week.
Something like that.
I mean, they're pretty good at home. South Carolina's
Yeah.
pretty good at home. So that's going to be
Because
tough.
Columbia is the hottest city in the world, and people aren't used to the humidity.
And they got hosed in that Florida game. Did you see that play where
they
they were
did hose.
basically the guy just blocked him out of the way and
did
Muschamp
get
blew a
hosed.
gasket? But he should have. I wonder if that official got sort of maybe bumped back
All
down
right.
to JUCO after
All right,
that.
first
Sheesh.
7 games. Georgia State could that beat them?
See,
Could that beat BYU?
But see, I think you're basing it on Georgia State as a priority.
Could that
Could
be-
they beat Georgia State this year?
Yeah.
Like, look at
I'm
these
saying
teams
right
this
now.
year.
Yeah, App State's 21st in the
I
country.
don't know if you could beat BYU. If you
Is
go
Georgia
to
State ranked
Provo,
higher than
no.
App State right now, Phil?
But see, like Georgia State, that's an upset. That's not them
Right.
beating Tennessee.
All
That
right,
was
so
a
let's see
fluke
this. Let's go down
win.
Tennessee's schedule. First 6 games, App could beat Georgia State, BYU, UTC.
I don't know if you're beating BYU.
I said could.
They're not beating Florida.
They're not beating
Georgia.
the next 4. Okay.
No.
So
And they're not beating BYU.
So all right, Appalachian
Chattanooga.
State could be 3-4 or 2-5 of Tennessee's schedule. What is Tennessee's record?
2-5.
2-5.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying they could be Alabama and they're going to go to the World National Championship. I'm saying they could replace teams that have the schedules like this and have the same exact record
Well,
as Tennessee.
I
Then
just-
they got UAB, South Carolina, Kentucky. Those are 3 games they can win, and Vanderbilt.
But I would like to
with
see
that
App
schedule,
change
App
their.
could,
I would
App
like
could
to
go
see
500
App's
almost.
got to change their recruiting because they don't have the depth to play with these teams.
This is how
I
I look.
understand.
This is
I
this is
totally
how
understand.
This is how Appalachian.
I'm saying
State's
they could go
recruiting
500
goes.
with
the
Tennessee's
guys that are
schedule.
not quite grade wise to get into Virginia Techs and the North Carolinas in the state. They go to Appalachian.
I agree.
And it's the hard truth because I know of a guy. I know I had an ex-teacher. His son was getting recruited by Virginia Tech. Didn't quite have the grades for it. He wound up at Appalachian State.
And I think it's just,
All right,
And
so
it's not,
Phil,
saying,
you
the athletics.
Well,
that
All
they're
right, Phil,
not
let's go to the
good.
last part of the schedule. You said they're 2-5. I said they're 3-4. Let's say they're 2-5. South Carolina, toss up. They could. UAB, should they beat them? Should they beat? Would they beat Kentucky?
Maybe.
What about Missouri? Probably not.
Probably not.
Vanderbilt, they could.
Well, let me ask you this:
So they could
is
win.
there a local radio sports show right now in
Talk
the
about App
state
State.
of Georgia saying Georgia State beat Tennessee? They should be. Are we localized and only going to be sipping on the Appalachian State tea, or is there other
All
radio
I'm saying is
stations
that-
thinking that
Well,
they
that's
lower?
why they think I'm crazy when I say I don't hold their 3 FCS national championships as high as they do.
No,
Like,
because-
that's great.
But guess what? They were good in FCS. Well, then why
Yeah.
is North Dakota State still playing at the level they're playing? To me, could North Dakota State beat Appalachian State? I think so. Last 5 years, North Dakota State could easily compete with App State.
Tom Brady,
Hands down.
Peyton Manning, combined in the playoffs have 4 losses to Joe Flacco. What's Joe Flacco's record against the Appalachian State Mountaineers?
0-1.
Yes, sir.
But I'm just saying, Carson Wentz.
Armani Edwards beat Joe Flacco. Flacco is, get this, you bet you don't know this, he is 10th all time in postseason wins. Joe Flacco, in the NFL history, is 10th all time. He has 10 victories, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Who else has playoff victories in just a minute? All right, let's do the picks, and then we'll go.
Pick'ems.
All right, Tom,
Big
we'll
game.
wait for you last.
You
We'll
can
wait for you
go
last.
last.
Egon picks last. I know, JP. Oklahoma, number 5 at Kansas State. We'll go one person, Phil, at a time. Tom.
Oklahoma.
Hunter, Iowa at Northwestern. Number 20, Iowa at
I'm
Northwestern.
taking Northwestern at home.
I'm pulling for Northwestern, baby. That means App moves up in the standings.
I'm
again.
taking Northwestern
App
at
State
home.
and South Alabama, 27-point favorites. Phil,
I'm definitely taking App State.
you talked all that bad about App State.
I
and
mean,
then you
South
pick 'em.
Alabama, that's a conference opponent. App's supposed to win that game, right? They're
Dang right.
They're 500.
You
in
dang
SEC.
right.
27 and a half point
500 in
favorite.
SEC. They've got
But
to
I
win their
say
conference.
this,
What's this?
27 and a half point favorite, I would take Southern Alabama to cover the spread.
Of everyone's favorite team in here, only mine is undefeated in bowl games. Let's see. Number 9, what, Hunter? Are they not 3 or 4-0, something like that?
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying your short stint in Division One of FBS football.
Auburn, number 9 at LSU, number 2. This is the big one. Now, Will said Tigers by 1, but
It's more
he
than
meant
that.
LSU Tigers, not
Yeah.
the Auburn Tigers.
1
it's
point or
more.
We're gonna
one
let all
touchdown?
three. He
I
said
think
1
he
point.
meant by more touchdowns.
All three people. Y'all can go ahead and pick the Phil. You
Definitely.
got Auburn or LSU?
No.
Well, I actually said at the 50-yard line for the Auburn-Florida game. I saw what Florida did against LSU, so I'm taking LSU, and I'll get 14 points.
For $39, you can get tickets to that game.
Ain't no friggin' way.
That's what it says right there. Look, $39. Auburn, LSU.
That's got to be a miss.
That game's at Auburn, right?
LSU.
Yeah, it's at
Tiger
LSU.
Stadium.
Oh, that definitely is.
Death
Yeah.
Valley.
That freshman
LSU.
quarterback's going to crumble in that pressure.
Everybody
LSU.
takes the Tigers.
What, you know what's a tragedy though about this game? It's not a LSU night game. It's not a night game at Death
It's a
Valley.
3:30
taking
game, right?
Yeah, I'm taking LSU to win this one at least by 17.
Penn State, number 6 at Michigan State. Tom, Mr. Big Ten.
You got to like Michigan State struggling on offense, Kevin.
$15.
I just like Penn State in this one.
Number 15, Texas Longhorns, TCU.
Texas. I like Ellinger.
Phil, Maryland at 17, Minnesota. Do the Golden Gophers move to 8-0?
I'll be honest with you. I think Maryland, because Maryland was such an offensive steamboat in the very beginning of the year. I'm going to take Maryland in this game, but 3.
By 3?
Yeah, because I think they can compete. Minnesota, I don't think, if Maryland plays offensively like they were in the beginning, they could easily route
spreads
them.
on them. I should have went down through there. Let me get back down to where we were. The LSU Auburn is LSU by 10. Penn State's only favored by 4 on the road at Michigan State, Tom.
And I think
they're
it's only
ranked number
because
6.
they're on the road.
It's because
Michigan,
6.
but they've just not. I mean, they got beat 38-0 by Wisconsin against Ohio State. They look pretty anemic. They just can't score. I just don't see how they have a chance to beat Penn State.
Texas-
Penn State's not that. They're not the number 6 team in the country.
Texas only favored by 1.
And that's hilarious,
At
too.
TCU. Yeah, I think that's
Tom,
funny.
Minnesota's favored
I
by
do think
16
that's
and a
funny.
half over Maryland in that game.
But they're at home. I like Minnesota at home.
Iowa State, Tommy, favored by 10.5. Number 23 versus Oklahoma State.
I think that game's closer than.
I think it is too because Oklahoma State seems to play everyone tough.
Look,
And
they
can
play
score
everyone
points.
tough, but it's not in Stillwater, so
Does-
I would still take
Does
Iowa State.
Arkansas cover the spread against Alabama today? 32.
It
is the
depends because
spread.
what does the backup quarterback do for Alabama today?
SEC game, 32 points.
They have a big
Wait,
question
what?
mark.
Tua's not playing.
No, he's
From-
got an ankle injury.
No, he's got.
again.
The
I
ankle.
saw that he. They
And,
did
and
something
if
to his
I
ankle.
if I understood him
And they're favored
correctly,
by
it was the
32.
same. It was another they did another surgical procedure on that ankle. Now in high ankle sprains in college football, these, surgeons are doing.
But it
these
helps him
minor
get back
surgeries.
quicker though. It'll
Right.
get
So
back
he's got
quicker.
that, and it was funny. Just to give you another sidebar, there's another little thing that Nick Saban did. He went off yesterday on the SEC, like in the little interview and stuff, because they asked him. They said, "You're playing Arkansas. It's kind of a toss-up game. Could Tualoa, Tua's brother, are you going to speed him up? You're going to try to get him in an SEC game, see what he does?" He's like, "Bottom dollar. We're just trying to win a game." He went off and done his typical rant.
I don't know about you. I'm just sick of Nick Saban. I'm ready for him to retire.
Tom, if App State played,
I'm sick of both those
If
teams.
App State played
Bama
Clemson
and
today,
Clemson.
what do you just guess?
I'm
What do
tired
you
of
think
both
the
of them.
spread
I
might
couldn't hear
be?
you. What's
If
that?
App played Clemson today, what do you think the spread might be?
App and Clemson, 3 touchdowns, 21.
I think
Clemson's
Clemson's
favored by
21.
35 at home against Boston College today. Another ACC.
I got
team.
Boston College covering that
Boston
spread.
College is. I haven't been following them too tough. Seems like they've been struggling this year.
Boston
I'm
College.
just trying to get App invited to the SEC, Phil. That's all they need. They need
Look,
North Carolina
Boston
school.
College absolutely routed last week NC State. What I saw on television.
Yeah, they
And
did
Clemson
beat-
every
they
week
did.
to me
They
does
did.
not look as good as they have been last year.
I tell you what, I
so
love
Boston
watching.
College covers this 35.
Wake
point
Forest
spread.
beat them. Wake Forest ranked 25th, by the way.
Right about y'all are forgetting
close game
Capital.
with Rutgers. Kansas beat Boston College.
What? I said y'all forgetting capitalism, man. They've got to have these teams in the top 10 to make the money.
Oh, yeah.
NCAA is
I know that.
money-making business.
Oh, I know
Philip, they are a non-profit organization. I just want to remind you, they are
Just make sure you're not like North Carolina.
People
Tar Heels.
making $8 million a year for non-profit.
Hey, look, they're
organizations.
non-profit, and they're also microscopically analyzing programs. I still will never forget Jordan Sane, one of my good friends, working with recruiting at Carolina, when they got sanctioned for 2 extra plates of spaghetti. North Carolina football took a sanction for spaghetti. They fed their players too much food.
Now, that's one thing Kevin and I agree on is compensating the players.
Bruce Pearl got suspended for a hot dog
dogs.
cookout.
That's
a
what
hot
I'm
dog
saying. Like,
cookout.
you know, the NCAA, at the end of the day, all I'm saying is, like with
Crazy.
Oklahoma being on the out, you got 2 SEC teams sitting in the top 4 that could be the possible 4 teams in the playoff. They need the ACC. They need the SEC. They're also going to try to figure out to get these big-time conferences
They
in.
need
That's the only reason why Notre
4
Dame.
out of the 5 conferences always need to
Well, that's
make
the
it.
only reason why Notre Dame's relevant in the playoff
an
picture at
independent.
all.
Notre Dame is the worst of the worst because they will not join a conference to share the money. That
Exactly.
makes them even worse than the other greedy schools. That's why I'll never pull for Notre Dame.
It's just like this Michigan game today. I think Michigan. I mean, that Notre Dame one.
Notre
point
Dame's
swing,
favored by 1 on the road.
I really
8
think
at 19.
Michigan could play in that
Who
game.
they're playing?
They're playing at Michigan. I
You
think
know
Michigan
how much
can easily beat them.
I despise Michigan as an Ohio State fan. I have,
Right.
But if they beat Notre Dame, I will not care because Notre Dame, then their TV money and their little TV contract.
I have
join a
Notre Dame
conference.
winning this
What
ball
I would
game.
say to Notre Dame, if I'm the NCAA, you are banned from the national championship playoff until you join a conference.
How about this one, Coach? If they take that loss to number 19 Michigan, how mad
How
are people
far?
going to be? They're going to fall to 10 or 11.
No, I think Notre Dame
can't
drops
let,
farther.
They
nah,
shouldn't
they
even
can't
be-
let them
they
fall
shouldn't be-
because
they
they have
shouldn't
to
be
be up there. That
Unless you
means to
play
keep
in
their
a
ratings up.
Because when everybody else is playing a conference championship game,
They're
they're
not.
sitting on the couch watching. That's just not right.
And then
because
right-
that's another
right.
stumbling block for everybody else.
And they don't move at all because they didn't
And then
play.
that's where
you can't
you
hold it
get
against
that's where you
them.
get the problem with the writers.
Does Notre
the
Dame not have a
writers'
tougher
opinions of it.
schedule than Alabama, though?
I don't care what their schedule is. Play in a conference championship game,
Well, I
or
understand
you're
that.
not eligible for the
Well, then
college
is that how
football
you felt
playoff.
about the Big 12 for the past few years? They just now got a Big 12 title.
I
game.
felt the same
They
way.
were
I
sharing
felt-
the title, and I thought that was the dumbest
I felt
thing
the
in
same
world.
way
right.
because now that everybody else has put that extra stumbling block, which even like last year, Clemson played Pitt. Okay, we all knew. But what if something happens? What if their quarterback gets hurt? What if
Right.
ETN goes down? There's another game for them to play that Notre Dame is sitting down on the couch watching the game. That's
And
just
resting
not right.
up and getting their kids healthy.
That's just not
Resting
right.
up to get
Yeah.
blown out. That's
And-
exactly what they did.
And then what they ought to do is take Notre Dame's other, like you're supposed to share the money with a conference. They ought to take all that money and give it to schools like Appalachian
But see,
State
this is what I
to
don't
share it.
understand because I think this is a great talking point with Notre Dame. What I don't understand is how in football they don't have to make a claim, but in basketball they're ACC. They
Yeah.
play
They're
can play.
terrible.
They can
It's
play
just-
in the
it's
ACC.
just-
that all goes back
ACC
terrible.
tournament.
But see, what's funny is it all went down to that meeting when the ACC met with Notre Dame. The ACC messed up and agreed to those terms.
Oh,
They
yeah.
said you're going to improve. Really, that deal was not for football; it was for basketball.
Yeah.
The same thing of bringing.
Same thing with Louisville and Syracuse.
Exactly. That was a basketball move by the conference to improve the basketball, make it the most elite conference in college
No, but
basketball.
it's also
it hurt
football.
all these other sports.
Now you get these marquee games with Carolina playing Notre Dame, or,
Right.
or Clemson playing Notre Dame, and now you're going to make money off that too.
Right.
All right, so who y'all got? Notre Dame, Michigan?
No,
I'm
I got
taking Michigan.
Notre Dame.
Tom. I know you're not going to pick Michigan.
I hate both these teams. So who do I think's going to win? Harbaugh cannot beat anybody who's good. So I like to say that Notre Dame's going to go in there and beat them. I don't know what's wrong with Harbaugh. He is like 2-20 versus top 10
Right.
teams. What is wrong with that guy? Why can't he coach?
his
He
khakis
looks
are
like
too
he
tight.
could coach in a big game, but he just can't coach in a big game.
Right.
I don't know
He's
what it
also
is.
probably the only coach in FBS big football that wears cleats when he coaches. He wears the
Gotta
Jordan
love him.
cleats.
You
with
know
the
what?
collar.
Maybe he needs to call his brother and get some advice
There you
because
go.
he's just terrible in big games. I don't know what, and it seems like he shouldn't be. You know what I mean? It seems like his his record should, his resume, I should say, should make him like.
App's got a better record in the big house against top 10 teams than they do, than Harbaugh does, don't he?
It's just, I don't know why he's so terrible in big games. Just
All
doesn't
right,
make any
24
sense.
Arizona State favored by 3 at
Go
2-5 UCLA.
Yeah.
A ranked team that's 5-2 in the same conference is only favored by 3 against a 2-5 team.
Go Arizona State.
Well, I think
Remember.
it just shows you how wide open the Pac-12 is.
Pac-12's horrible.
So UCLA is ranked 26.
Well,
if
I'm
you're
just
only
saying-
favored by 3.
Well,
at
yeah,
2-5.
because look down there at the bottom. You got Washington State and Oregon. Oregon's supposed to be the 11th best team in the nation, and they only have a 2-touchdown lead over Washington State. That shows you that the
Look at
Mike.
the complete
Washington
that just
State's
shows you,
not bad.
But I'm just saying it shows you the effects of Mike Leach. Mike Leach and his offense
That's what it
gives
is.
you that swing to
This-
where they're going to keep it
this
respectful.
air raid.
Exactly.
Kelly
air
at
raid.
UCLA he's going to get that
Exactly. I
program
agree.
Eventually.
back up.
That's just wild how these.
How could you be at UCLA and not be able to recruit? I mean, that's
So
just
well,
crazy.
here's what I want to. So UCLA, what do you think they would be ranked in the nation at 2-5 of 120 teams?
Of 120, they're probably in the
80.
top 40.
Yeah.
So let's say of 120
I'd say
teams
they
at
were.
2-5.
Of course, Cincinnati beat them.
Okay, let's say they're 40th. So you're doing okay. I don't. I really 40
Or
teams?
50.
No, I
At
said
2
they
and 5.
50.
I said they were 80.
Yeah, that's,
No,
I'm telling you, I was in that.
You know how many other teams?
No,
are in
there's
front of
not
them with winning
79
records?
Yeah,
teams
but I
better
mean,
than
those other
But they're
teams play
2
the
and 5.
same.
I don't think
I mean, it all goes back.
UCLA's awful.
Well, how many teams are in the Pac-12?
Well, who
12.
did they beat? Somebody.
12.
Who
Is
was
it
the
12
cr-
now? I don't know. Is that not a
It
legitimate
used-
question? How many teams in the Big Ten?
It used to be the Pac. It used to be the Pac-10. Now it's the
Pac-10, that's the
Pac-12.
Pac-12.
Because they added
12, my fault.
12.
But okay, so if they're 2-5 in the Pac-12, every Power 5 team has 12 teams. That's at least 50 teams that have got to have, or close to 40 teams that are better than 2-5, right? So let's say y'all. We think 80. Y'all say 40. Let's say 50, 60 to be safe. My point is, what the bettors are saying is that there's only a 3-point swing between the 50th best team and the 24th best team, according to the AP voters. It's weird. And then you go down to Oregon, like you just said, they're Washington State's 4-3, and it's by 14 points instead of 3 points.
But they're getting that swing because of the offensive mind that Mike
I think
Leach
that's all the
is.
games now. All right, we got to take a break. JP's been giving me gang
Hand
signs
signals.
and all kinds of things in there for a while. Nick Fury's in the house. Oh, he's back to 2 eyes. 2 eyes. He can see. Up now he's back.
What are we doing next?
It's the Monopoly
NFL?
guy. When we come back, we're going to talk cross-dressing quarterbacks.
Did we
We're
predict
gonna
the Ohio State game?
No, we didn't. I
Oh,
forgot about
man.
that.
We left
Ohio
this
State-
one for you.
Ohio State, Wisconsin.
Ohio State, but it's close.
They're favored by 14.5.
They
But-
shouldn't
and I don't
be.
agree with that line.
They shouldn't be, because Ohio State does struggle stopping the run sometimes, and Taylor for Wisconsin's good. I think this thing's going to stay close.
But
for a long
that's
time.
the genetic makeup of Wisconsin. They are
Right.
the power. Power.
And their
running
defense,
game.
their
I gave
defense,
it high noon.
their defense is really good. So
Right.
I mean,
Wisconsin
they have a-
usually
they have a
has the
better chance.
largest offensive line in football, but they don't this
But guess
year.
what? They got upset last week, and
They're
can
gonna be
back on
mad.
it. Yeah, they're gonna have a little vengeance play this year.
All right, guys, we'll be back in a few minutes. KDCBroadcasting.com.
Tug those seatbelts tight. It's going to get ugly now. Here they come.
The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series playoffs.
Miami on the line as they go back to turn 1.
Playoff race 7.
They're side by side.
And the championship battle
One more try.
intensifies in Martinsville.
He shoves him up the racetrack.
The first date of 500.
Man, that got physical coming off turn number 4.
Sunday at 2 on the Motor Racing Network.
The first date of 500, Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock on Carolina Country WCSL. 92.3 FM, 1590 AM, and online at KTCBroadcasting.com.
Cakes and cookies, toys and gifts. Christmas at your fingertips.
It's the shopping event of the season, the Southern Christmas Show, November 14th through 24th at the Park Expo and Conference Center. Explore a woodland Christmas with forest-inspired decorations for the merriest time of year, and shop hundreds of booths to find one-of-a-kind gifts for everyone on your list. Buy tickets online and save at southernChristmasShow.com.
Let's go to the Southern Christmas Show.
Who are you? You're not a goat. Oh, you say you feel like a goat since you didn't buy your car from Renato Auto Mall in Shelby. And now you're putting up with a bunch of bull. Don't be like my friend here. You get no bull at Renato Honda and Renato Kia at Renato Auto Mall in Shelby. 4423 East Dixon Boulevard. Don't let another dealer get your goat. Who are you? You're not a goat. Oh, you say you feel like a goat since you didn't buy your car from Renato Auto Mall in Shelby. And now you're putting up with a bunch of bull. Don't be like my friend here. You get no bull at Renato Honda and Renato Kia at Renato Auto Mall in Shelby. 4423 East Dixon Boulevard. Don't let another dealer get your goat.
You mow to make money, so Bobcat keeps the checks adding up. Bigger AirFX high vacuum decks? Check. Transport speeds up to 19 miles per hour? Check. Industry-leading mow with confidence 6-year warranties? Check. The next generation of Bobcat mowers is engineered to keep you unstoppable so you can grow your business and stay true to your nature. Fiercely independent.
This area's Bobcat dealer is Western Sales. Highway 18 north at the 27 intersection west in Vale.
Here's what's up in Cleveland, Gaston, and Lincoln counties. Brought to you by the What's Up Shopper, Carolina Country, WCSL, and The Boss, WOHS and WLON. Hospice serving Cleveland, Gaston, and Lincoln County. Volunteers are at the heart of hospice. The next training class is Monday, October 21st, Tuesday, October 22nd, and Thursday, October 24th. For more information, call 704-751-3547 and ask for Krista Haynes. The Cleveland County Veterans Advisory Council is taking applications for the annual Veterans Day Parade. Entry forms and Grand Marshal forms are available at the Cleveland County Veterans Service Office. For more information, call 704-435-1516. And that's What's Up, brought to you by the What's Up Shopper, Carolina Country, WCSL 1590 AM and 92.3 FM. The Boss, WOHS 1390 AM and 101.5 FM. And WLON 1050 AM and 107.5 FM. For more information, go to whatsupshopper.com.
For the latest from the world of golf, tune in every Wednesday morning from 11 to 12 for the Golf Shop Radio Show. Hosts Mark Greenhelge and Matt Blanchard talk golf from tee to green and everything in between. If you like golf, you're going to love Golf Shop Radio. Before you tee up, drop on in. Welcome to the Golf Shop.
Golf Shop Radio, Wednesday mornings at 11 o'clock on Carolina Country WCSL, 92.3 FM, 1590 AM. Online at kdcbroadcasting.com. Brought to you by Fred Caldwell Chevrolet in Clover, South Carolina.
And welcome back to Saturday Morning Sports Talk with Kevin and the gang. They're, I don't know what they're doing. I can't exactly see right now.
I'll bring us back,
There
JP.
we go. There we go.
Welcome back to Saturday Morning Sports Talk Show. We've got the gang here. We just finished up with some of our college football talk. Now we're getting ready to jump into the NFL. The NFL, we've got big slate of games this weekend. One of them I was looking forward to, Tom.
What's that?
I was looking forward to the quarterback matchup until an injury happened. It was the Green Bay-Kansas City game.
Yeah,
then
Mahomes,
the injury to
I
Patrick
saw
Mahomes.
where he got hurt, but then
he's going
to be out for a few weeks.
Yeah, but what's so funny is he was at practice. They interviewed Andy Reid and asked Andy if there's any chance Patrick Mahomes is going to play. He said there's no chance Patrick Mahomes is not going to play. He said, and that was my decision. He said Patrick wanted to play. Patrick was out there at practice. So coming off of a dislocated knee a few days before, he was back at practice wanting to play. But Andy Reid said, nope, we're just going to roll with Matt Moore. But they asked Andy Reid what all did he do at practice. He said he did a lot.
Well, see, this is the thing with running quarterbacks. It's a matter of time.
No. Now, Patrick Mahomes, I do not consider a running quarterback. He is an athletic quarterback.
So I'm just telling you, it's a matter of time.
But here's the thing. Is that, and we can talk about this now, was that not Andy Reid's fault, the fact that happened? You already knew that Patrick Mahomes was on a bum ankle. It was early in the game. This was a 4th and 1 that you really didn't need. You could have taken the field goal. You were already winning in a game you were supposed to win. So was that not Andy Reid's fault that Patrick Mahomes got hurt calling that play? Because that was an unnecessary call to me. You did not – the game was not on the line. It was still the first or second quarter. And it was a 4th and 1. You were up 7-0. or you were up 10-7 at that point.
Madden cover voodoo.
Well, I mean, I would lean more to that than I would.
I don't
Andy
think
Reid's
it's
fault.
I don't think it's the
would-
Madden cover, because up until then he was on pace to throw for 5,600 yards.
Well, a lot of people were on pace to do a lot of things until Madden came along, Hunter. How did Peyton Hillis do on the Madden cover after the Madden cover, Tommy?
Robert Griffin.
Peyton Hillis, remember him?
Hard
He was
to
on the
agree
cover
on
of
that
Madden.
one.
It's been a while.
Cover
Yeah.
of Madden, Tom.
Oh, yeah.
That's been a while.
Baylor, I know that. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
been a
it's
long
been a
time,
while.
hasn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
So, I'm sorry if you're watching online. My scarf keeps getting in my eyes. We're having our Halloween dress up today. Tom's Egon from the Ghostbusters.
How's your shoulder feeling, Kevin? I mean, is it healing up?
Well, is it my foot more important or my shoulder more important? If you didn't know, I'm the backup quarterback for the Carolina Panthers, Cameron Newton. I have my scarf on and my glasses, and I've got my bow tie. I've got my suspenders.
The only thing is your tweets aren't in those hieroglyphic letters that Cam types.
I
everything
got
out.
to change my font.
Dude,
You gotta start tweeting in his font.
Honestly, I don't follow Cam on the Twitter, but you know that's how it goes. Tom, I got some fun playoff quarterback stats for you.
All right.
This is playoff wins career. I mentioned earlier Joe Flacco, 10th all time, with 10 playoff wins. Eli Manning's got 8. Here's quarterbacks who have 5 wins: Jake Delhomme, Trent Dilfer, Mark Rypien. He's got a Super Bowl too.
Mark Rypien, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was a lot of it. Just depends what side of North Carolina you was on, how to pronounce it, Tom.
Mark, I've never heard anybody say Mark Rypien.
Well, I know a lot of Redskin fans that say it that way, but well, that's another thing.
I'll go with that.
Craig,
I'll go with that.
I'm not saying it is right. I'm just saying I've heard people say that like it.
All right.
Craig Morton, Mark Brunell has 5 playoff wins.
Mark Brunell.
Matt Hasselbeck, and Danny White.
Remember when Danny White played and they made him the punter, like he was still on the team, but he was just punt? Remember?
Yep.
Do you guys remember that?
So
you probably
the
don't.
last 2 nights, that's funny Tom just mentioned that. Obviously he hasn't been listening to the sports talk. On Wednesday, I know while you were playing soccer, I brought up Danny White to Jeff Jones because the Burns quarterback, Johnson, was averaging about 50 yards a punt for the middle school team. So I said he's out here like Danny White and Randall Cunningham. Okay. And as I mentioned that to Terry last night, and of course he remembers old Danny. Now, that's 5 wins. Y'all ready for the quarterbacks with 4 wins? Now, before I start, all those people I've named, Cam Newton has 3 playoff wins. Here's people who have 4 playoff wins. This is more than Cam. Ron Jaworski, Brad Johnson, Mark Sanchez. How about Nick Foles? How many years has he been starting?
He's also got a Super Bowl.
Nick Foles has more playoff wins and a Super Bowl than Cam. Jeff Hostetler has more playoff wins. Now, if you remember, this is kind of the situation the Panthers in. This was I was going to get to. Is this not the same kind of situation they're in? Phil Simms gets hurt. Hostetler comes in, gets hot, goes on a run. Way older than any Cam fans probably know about. This is kind of the same situation. Everybody wants to talk about the Bledsoe Brady thing. Hostetler did it before that happened. Before Brady and
well, that's the same thing with his name, the guy with the Rams when they had Trent Green.
Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner came in.
He came in from bagging groceries.
Yeah. Same thing.
Now, Tom, here's the best one of this. Here's the best one of these stats. With 4 playoff wins, hasn't quarterbacked since 2016. Colin Kaepernick. Kaepernick has more playoff wins than Cam Newton.
Here's a bold prediction: Kaepernick will never get another playoff win.
That's good.
I don't think that's a bold
one.
prediction.
Tim Tebow has a higher winning percentage in the playoffs than all of those quarterbacks.
Well, that's true too. Probably he's 500. Yeah, Tim Tebow at 500 beat the Steelers. Kerry Collins has 3. Boomer Esiason has 3. Tony Eason, Mike Tomczak, Jim McMahon, Bernie Kosar with 3. O'Donnell, Craig, Neil O'Donnell. These are the people Cam's tied with. Kerry Collins, Esiason, Tony Eason, Mike Tomczak, Jim McMahon, Bernie Kosar, Neil O'Donnell, Dave Craig, and the great Stan Humphries of the Chargers. Now, with all that said, what I'm getting to, with the Kyle Allen thing, like I was saying with Hostetler, you've got the guy that's won, 5 now? He's going against the Niners.
5,
the Niners this week. No interceptions, too. This week he's got the Niners, one of the best defenses in football.
Probably the best front 7 in football.
What I find curious about what the Panthers keep saying is, when Cam's healthy, we'll decide then. They're not saying when Cam's healthy, he's the starter, are they, Philip?
No.
What does that mean then? When Cam's healthy, we'll decide.
Well, there's already been another report that 10 teams are interested in trading for Cam Newton, and I promise you that's inflated. I think that
I would just like
inflated.
to know what they're willing to trade for him.
Well,
that's a great question.
I'd probably say maybe a second-round pick.
Here's the other key thing
Maybe
that
a
people aren't
second-round.
paying
I'd do a
attention to
second-round.
when they're talking about the quarterback thing is look at when Cam's contract comes up and who else in the Panthers organization have their contract come up in the same window. Luke Kuechly's fixing to be up for who's a better player for your team, Cam Newton, Luke Kuechly. So when those contracts come up and that money is Tepper, where does Tepper lean? He's already seen he's got a winner in his backup quarterback, which means do they wholesale trade Cam, get whatever they can get, draft another quarterback coming out of college?
If that's
Right.
what you want to
If
do,
that's what you
if you're
wanted.
not sold on
Exactly.
Kyle Allen.
Because what are you getting to trade for?
And
then-
not only that, but now Kyle Allen is going to be a trade
and then
commodity
you,
if
right,
you don't
and
use
then you
him.
re-sign Luke Kuechly to solidify your defense. Because I mean, at the end of the day, if Cam comes back, what is it? What is he giving you that you can't find somewhere else?
He's an extra running back. That's all he is.
Right. And now that they've made him more pocket passer and not let him run as much,
his flaws are showing.
Exactly. I mean, he never was coming out of college a
pocket
passing
passer.
quarterback. They talked about, especially his rookie year, they were saying he threw the ball too hard. He didn't get the ball out at the right time. There were so many things in his scouting report when he first came out, and it was the fact that he was like 6'6" and could run like a deer, and that's really what kept people in the box and helped him. Now he's not running, so they can play better defense against him. My biggest concern is, away from the Panthers, is what has happened or got into Matt Ryan and the Falcons, and how do they sit at 1-6?
Well, Matt Ryan, the question is, he might not even play this weekend because of a lower extremity injury. He was walking out of last week's game in a boot.
You know, you talk about that.
I don't think he's going to play.
You talk about that whole division. I mean, you look at how fortunate are the Saints for signing Teddy Bridgewater to be the backup quarterback behind
Teddy Bridgewater
Breeze.
had a chance to go and be the starting quarterback at Miami this offseason, decided to stay with the
Decided to
Saints.
stay. Breeze gets hurt. He comes in. He's been exceptional
He's
at
been just
quarterback.
great.
I mean, he's doing,
the thing is, they were playing. Kamara didn't play. They had I can't remember the tight end's name. He didn't play. And Breeze didn't play, and they're still awesome.
They're
I mean, it's just,
I hate that Jared Cook.
How
Cook, that
good
was
are
the
they
tight
going to
end he
be
didn't play.
when they get healthy? Is
Well,
Kamara playing
here's the
this
thing.
week or is he still
he's
out?
questionable, but he should play. He better. He's on my fantasy team. Kamara, if you're listening,
I mean,
do not do this to me.
I don't know. I mean, and me
That's
being a
what's going on.
Cowboys fan, I mean, you sit and you look. I mean, who are we and what's our identity? We came out lights out. We drop a game or two, and then all of a sudden, they play really well last week against the Eagles.
Well, here's the thing. I'll just circle back to Carolina, but it stays with your NFC South thing. This all just falls right into play for Carolina? This is your moment to see what you have with Kyle Allen. Atlanta's down. You lost, but you've already finished up with Tampa Bay. You split with them, okay? Because you got good Jameis, and then you got awful Jameis when you played him the second time. And Drew Brees is out, but he's already been back to practice right now. So you could finish borderline for a wild card.
I mean, yeah, the Carolina Panthers could easily find themselves in the wild card hunt. And I think
It's just the
my
NFC
biggest
so
thing is
deep.
in the front office and looking at value, just like in college when you talk about a walk-on versus a scholarship player. Cam Newton gets healthy. Does he walk right back in and take over the backup? I mean, because right now you've got people. I was listening to some other radio on the Panthers, and they're talking about
us?
Yeah, they were talking about him being a scab quarterback, and they're like, when the scab, will he maintain when Cam comes back? And I'm thinking, I'm playing the winning hand. And the cool thing about Tepper is if you pay attention to the way he's done all of his business in Carolina, he only cares about wins. He doesn't
he comes
care
from
about
Pittsburgh. That's all he knows.
He doesn't care about allegiances or. He doesn't care about Cam Newton. He wants to win.
You talking about Tepper?
Yeah.
Well,
he
that's
wants to
one
win.
thing.
He's about making money.
That's one thing the Panther fans need to keep in mind. This is a new owner. This is a new. Cam Newton's not his quarterback. Ron Rivera's not his coach.
Right.
Well, we can't forget either. Ron Rivera knows he's on the hot seat, so if he can
Well,
win with Kyle Allen.
Yeah, Tepper's not Jerry Jones.
No.
Or he's not Richardson either. He's not going to stick true blue. This is my guy.
So as a Cowboys fan, you saw this, and we try to tell people, and then we argue. Here we are a few years later arguing this. Romo had won 15 of his last 19 games when Dak Prescott won 3 games, and then they announced he was the starter.
Right.
It was only 3 games Not 13. Yes, he went 13-3 that year, but it was only after 3 games they announced him as the starter. After Romo was healthy and had won 15 of 19. Cam has lost 8 straight, and he's lost 5 losing seasons in 8 years. He hasn't won a playoff game since the Super Bowl season. Here's his playoff wins that people want to talk about. His first one was the year before the Super Bowl season against Ryan Lindley of the Arizona Cardinals.
Right.
Ryan Lindley. Raise your hand if you didn't think if I said Ryan Lindley, that was a kicker's name, not a quarterback. Okay, that was his first victory. His second victory was against Carson Palmer in his next to last year, and Palmer threw 4 interceptions in that game. In that game, I think the Panthers were up 13-0 before Cam even threw a single pass in that game. So that's 2 of his victories. So his only other victory then was against the Seahawks in the following week that got him into the Super Bowl. Looking at as you say all that to Panther fans, and be like, well, realize that, and then Dallas got rid of Romo after 3 wins. Right. So as a quarterback, and then we talk about Chaz, and then we talk about Eli Manning gets benched after 2 years, and he's won 2 Super Bowls. For me, it's so frustrating that every single quarterback situation is different. It's completely different, and we try to put the different labels on. Like, does Cam get his job back when he comes back? Well, Romo didn't, or
well,
Eli did,
I think
or
it goes back
did.
to what have you done for me lately, and that's how the NFL does it. Because at the end of the day,
is that why Ron Rivera saying we're going to see when he comes back?
Yeah, because you take.
Let
me ask you this: you take Allen out and you put Cam back in. Cam goes out there and drops one and loses. Then what does that do?
Is
to
that not the
defense?
worst thing? I think for everyone.
Yeah.
If Cam comes out and loses, he loses trade value 1. He loses signability value for him, and then also the fans. What if you're going to have some fans booing because the other quarterback was undefeated?
Then you're going to have the diehard fans that say, "Hey, let him get his game speed back up."
Oh, well, not just that, but what do you think that's going to do to Kyle Allen? What do you think that's going to do up here?
Well,
Kyle Allen's agent is going to be like, trade me now.
Kyle's done. Like what Kyle has done.
One of them's done. One of them's gone.
Regardless, if they leave him as a starter, he's going to play quarterback in Carolina. Yeah. If you put him back at backup, somebody has a really bad year, and he's going to easily
he's put himself in the same position Jimmy Garoppolo and Jacoby Brissett
exactly.
put them in.
He's made his money. Kyle at this point has put himself as an elite player. He can play at that pace. He doesn't look like a backup on Sunday, and he's essentially just signing his money. He can sit back and smile. Like today, whoever the Panthers play today, if they're playing, he gets to go out there, play the game of football, knowing after this season, no matter what happens, I'm getting paid.
See, because all he has to look at is see what
I think some
San
Panther fans are
Francisco
confused that they're going to
Garoppolo.
keep Kyle Allen as the backup. Like that's how they keep wording it. Like, well,
that's
Cam's
not
just going to
gonna
come back
happen.
and it's all going to be happy and gravy, and that's not what happens.
Their backup's going to be Will Greer.
Yeah.
I would
if
say
if they choose Cam,
if they choose Cam over Kyle, then Kyle's going to
he'll finish the season here.
He
But
can
if
easily
Cam
go.
was never voted the MVP, would they be having this argument right now, this second? And still made it to the Super Bowl like Kaepernick did and didn't win the Super Bowl. Would they even be making this argument if it was Matt Ryan? He won the MVP.
The only thing that's keeping Cam Newton in the conversation is that MVP award. And
that's what
that's the only thing that
because
keeps
once you start talking to Panthers
they talk
fans,
about him, they
that's
say
what they
former
say.
MVP.
And that's the first thing they say when you talk about. Well, that was 4 years ago. And like I said, they haven't won a playoff game since.
So at the end of the day, as a Panther fan, what do you want? Do you want Super Bowls or do you want MVPs?
Well,
what is it that you weigh? I mean, to me, Cowboys could never have an MVP ever. As long as we have a chance to win the Super Bowl, I don't care about MVP.
And see, I did a real quick. Go ahead. We'll talk about Cam's running ability real quick. I did a real quick research last night on some of this, trying to compare him. Like, what is he running? Like, we haven't seen this before. To me, he's just a right-handed Tebow that jumps over the line for his running style. Looking at his scores and his yards per carry, Cam 5.1 yards per carry, Tebow 5.0. Okay, both of them, 50% of their touchdown runs were inside 3 yards. Both of them, 17 for Tebow, 18 for Cam. Their touchdowns are outside 10 yards. Michael Vick's touchdowns outside of 10 yards, 52% of his touchdowns. Cam and Tebow's is only 18%. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
They're
doing their damage
all
within
of Cam's
like 5
and Tebow's
to
are
10 yards.
3 to 5 yard scores with an extra blocker in front. You know how that works.
Yeah.
Vic averaged, and this is the all-time best, 7 yards a carry. And like I said, 52% of his touchdowns were more than 10-yard carries. Who was second on the list? Randall Cunningham, 6.4 yards. You'll never guess who third is. He's playing right now for the Los Angeles Rams.
Jared Goff? No, Blake Bortles.
Blake Bortles is the third all-time rushing.
Let me ask you this.
He's on the team. He's not playing.
How about this?
6.3 yards a carry.
Out of all the quarterbacks you named, how many of those guys win Super Bowls?
Let's see. Vic didn't. Randall Cunningham didn't. Bortles didn't. Colin Kaepernick didn't. Steve Young won one. Russell Wilson won one. McNabb didn't. Roger Staubach's in the next one. He won 2. Fran Tarkenton 0 for 4 in Super Bowls. Culpepper, no Super Bowls. Cordell Stewart is next. Cordell Stewart has the same as Cam, 5.1. Culpepper's fat butt averaged more yards a carry than Cam Newton did.
So my point
Dante
is,
Culpepper averaged more yards a carry.
So my point is it advantageous in a passing league to have a dual threat running quarterback, or is it better to draft a passing?
I mean, no, but it doesn't hurt if you've got, because this is what I'm saying.
I think if you've got a good defense and a good running game, you can make playoffs.
Because with a running quarterback, like if they're run first, it's a problem. But if you got one that's like Russell Wilson, who goes out there, he's pass first, but he can get out if he needs to. I think that's fine.
Scrambling quarterbacks usually leads the league in sacks,
because then it makes it 11 on 11 at that point.
So
it's not 10 on 11.
But I'm just saying we're in year what of Tom Brady's career? He's undefeated, and he's on tab to go for another Super Bowl.
Well, I heard an interview that they did with John Elway, and John Elway said this game is still won from the pocket. He said these running quarterbacks, that's why they don't always win championships, because you got to be able to win from the pocket.
You can make it that far. You can come close, but so Kaepernick got to the Super Bowl, what happened? He played a really good defense and a passing quarterback.
Right. Same with Cam.
Cam got to the Super Bowl.
I mean, the Ravens were full of how many Hall of Famer? That Hall of Famer defense. How many Hall of Famers
Ed
were
Reed,
stretched out against him?
Terrell Suggs is going to be there.
All right, Tom. Cam was drafted first overall. Von Miller was second in that draft. Mm-hmm. Von Miller beat him in the Super Bowl. One-on-one in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Then, also in that draft, was Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton and Cam have the exact same record right now. Exact same passing stats.
This is kind of the comparison he's always
no,
comparing.
What I'm saying is that they're sitting here now.
That's what everybody
right
says.
now, the Panthers could have Von Miller on their defense this whole time and have won a quarterback who's won the exact same number of games, whether you argue rushing or passing or not.
But you know what?
He's won the same number of games. So here's this question: if I called you today and said I'll give you Von Miller and Andy Dalton for Cam.
Well, let me ask you this, and this is
I think that's a no-brainer.
This is to put you back in the realm of what a coach thinks about. So me as a coach, Von Miller didn't beat Cam Newton. Von Miller beat that tackle. He beat every tackle, every guard. I mean, he moved.
He stripped
multiple plays. I'm just saying
he was in Cam's psyche,
but he moved multiple plays across a very below-average offensive line that was playing in a Super Bowl. If you take Cam Newton and you put him, you trade just right now, Dak Prescott, Cam Newton trade. Mm-hmm. Does that not make the Cowboys elite? Because they have the best offensive line. I mean, DeMarco Murray ran behind that offensive line and was the leading rusher for them, then goes to the Eagles and subpar runner. So if that offensive line was in Carolina that year, Carolina wins that Super Bowl. Von Miller is a non-essential key. Because now you actually –
I don't know if you can say he's non-essential.
I'm just saying, you've got 5 Hall of Fame –
DeMarcus Ware was
You got 5 future Hall of Fame candidates playing offensive line right now. This Sunday for the Dallas Cowboys, there are 5 future Hall of Famers playing offensive line.
Yeah.
You take that offensive line and put them in front of Cam Newton in that Super Bowl. Name me one Hall of Fame candidate on the offensive line that played in that Super Bowl.
I've seen defenses make Dak Prescott look bad and Ezekiel Elliott.
But I'm just saying, in that game,
that
game, the biggest key player that stopped the Panthers was Von Miller. He was elite.
Yeah.
Because he worked up and down that line. Like he didn't just beat the left tackle. He went out and bumped on the right tackle. He made all those key plays, but he was going against a below average offensive line. If you change that key point there, then you don't even have to say Cam Newton was getting beat by Von Miller, because Von Miller's not even in the question, because he's not getting there.
Well, here, then I'll ask you this question, because I think that the defensive players make all the difference in the world, because defense wins championships.
Right. I mean, yeah, I agree, but I'm saying
because here's my question: then would you take that same trade if I replaced Von Miller with Khalil Mack? Could you? And you still have Andy Dalton as a quarterback. Now you're saying you have possibly the best linebacker and edge rusher in the game in Khalil Mack and Andy Dalton, and you would come out with the same exact wins percentage.
But I'm just saying, in that game, everybody kind of threw that up on Cam Newton. Cam in his own defense, and I've never been a Cam Newton fan, but the line, that was the problem, honestly, with Cam now. he doesn't have a very good offensive line up front. Matt and Ryan Khalil.
Well, outside of outside of Dallas, who really has a good offensive line?
Maybe
the
New England's
49ers.
offensive line's really well. I mean, last
but
year
even
Tom
there,
Brady
tug and pull,
Tom
they don't
Brady
have
was
their
sacked
center.
3 or 4 times last season.
Here's the Patriots stat of the year right now. They've given up 6.9 points a game on defense. That's on pace to be better than the 85 Bears. 6.9.
Is it really that low?
Oh, I'm getting better, Tom. Before last week's game, they had given up 3 touchdowns and 2 field goals. Their defense has scored 5 touchdowns. Now, let me finish that thought. I saw this stat yesterday. If the New England Patriots had punted on first down every play this year, they would be 3-3-1. If the New England Patriots punted on first down every play this season, they would still be 3-1 because their defense
I think if
outscored
I'm not mistaken,
the other teams.
Another stat I saw was if you would have teased the line on all the spreads that the Patriots have had this year, they'd still be 7-0.
And Cleveland is
Cleveland
is only an 11-point underdog.
Only
an 11-point
I would
underdog.
tease that line then because I think they're going to get waxed.
Well, you never know.
Here's the thing.
It's insane the defense they're playing right
and
now.
this is why I think they're going to get waxed. Jarvis Landry didn't mean to do it. But he didn't even guarantee it. The media twisted it. He just said we're going to win. He said we're going there to win, which that's everybody's mindset. We're going to go and try and win. But that's bulletin board material for New England.
Well, I'm going to bring something up that Kevin brought up. He brought up a name a little while ago when we were talking college football. Gardner Minshew in Jacksonville, 3-4 overall record, but they act like he is the god of Florida football. Like I'm telling you, like T-shirts and there's.
Well, that's a marketing thing.
We drive through Jacksonville. There's billboards. I mean, everybody's wearing
Got to make that
hair,
money,
the
Phil.
mustache, and I'm like, they're 3-4. They're 3-4.
They need something to be excited about.
And but if you remember when Blake Borders was there, that's about the same result they were getting. Like he's not done anything super special.
He's come in as a 6th round pick and been able. I think he's had the 2nd to 3rd best QBR in the past.
But I'm saying
and red zone percentage.
With all the hype, wouldn't you think they were leading their division?
Oh,
Do you
well,
not
yeah,
think
but
they're potential
if you ask
playoff
me, that
candidates?
division, that division
they're in
is
8th right
garbage.
now in the AFC. I'm looking at the playoff standings right now. If the playoffs start today, guys, real quick.
They only lost to Houston by 2 points. So
Texans would be in Baltimore in round 1. The Bills would be in Indianapolis in the AFC in round 1, with the Pats and Chiefs getting the byes.
Dude, here's a hot take for you. I got the Bills winning this weekend against the Eagles.
Well, we're going to do that in just a minute if you can
in
wait.
Buffalo.
In the NFC, the playoff team started this weekend. It would be Seattle in Green Bay and Minnesota in Dallas, with the Saints and 49ers with the byes. Carolina's in the 7th spot right now with the Rams 8, Bears 9, Eagles down in 11. Now, picking the games. We'll go one at a time. Oh, this didn't give me the spread. Oh, they didn't give me the NFL spread. Oh, there is no spread on Seahawks and Falcons yet. I wonder why. So let's go straight
They probably are waiting to see whether or not Matt Ryan's going to play for the Falcons before Vegas puts that out.
Is anyone picking the Falcons at this table?
I don't think so.
God, no.
Well, we'll just move on then. All right. Buffalo favored by 2 at home versus the Eagles. Tom.
I don't know. Buffalo looked a little shaky last week against Miami. I don't know. This is really a pick 'em.
They're only favored by 2
I think I'm going to
at
go
home.
with the Eagles to bounce back.
I'm taking Buffalo. The defense is real at Buffalo. The Eagles.
All right, we got to do these quick because we still got 5 more minutes.
I would say Bills.
All right, let's do one person at a time. Let's start Phil. Chargers at Bears. The line is 3.5 Bears.
I'm going to go because it's in Chicago. I'm going to go with Chicago Bears.
Cover the spread too? 3.5 only?
Maybe.
Hunter. Line 6.5-point favorites at home against the G-Men.
You know what? I'm gonna take the Lions to win, but I don't have them covering 6.5.
Okay. Tommy, Titans at home, 2.5 favorites versus Tampa with Tannehill.
I don't know. It depends on which Tampa Bay. They went out to Los Angeles and beat the Rams, so I think they can win on the road. I'm going with Tampa Bay.
All right. Phil, Colts at home against the Broncos, favored by 5.5 in Indy.
Yeah, I'll go with the Colts.
Hunter, do the Bengals pick up their first win in L.A. today?
No.
Do they cover the 12-point spread?
Who, the Bengals?
Yes.
No, Rams at least win that by 14.
Tom, in Nowlands, Saints hosting the Cardinals, 10.5-point favorites.
Well, that's my eliminator pick this week, so they better win. So I picked the Saints because I've already picked some other. But, I like them at home. They're playing well. I hope Kamara plays. But I like the Saints. Their defense is really good.
All right, Philip, you got your Gardner Minshew jersey ready. They're favored by 6.5 against the Jets.
Yeah, I'll sip that tea with the Jag fans.
I'm sipping it hard, man.
Hunter.
I like watching them.
Kyle Allen in San Francisco, 5.5 points.
I told my buddy San Francisco to make the playoffs this year before the season started. He said, "You're crazy." I said, "Well, look at me now."
That defensive line is awesome.
Their front seven is very good.
Not bad.
They're not, and they just added Emmanuel Sanders. I'm riding high on the 49ers.
Tom
man.
Brown's 10.5-point dogs in Foxborough.
I think they cover, but they're probably going to get beat. They need to play well. They really need to go up there and play well. Because if they go up there and get flattened like they did in San Francisco, I think they're really.
I said before the season they go 3-5 and still make the playoffs, and they're getting close to that, having to do that. Philip, Raiders in Houston, 6.5, 6-point favorites for Houston.
Raiders ain't that bad.
I thought that'd be like
I'm going to go with the Raiders there because
I'd at least cover, right?
Yeah, I'll stay with the Raiders.
Packers and Chiefs. Hunter.
Dude, Green Bay wins this. When I saw this on the schedule, I was praying Patrick Mahomes
favored
would be
by
in this
4.5
game,
right
but
now.
I've got the Packers winning this game.
The Chiefs are still favored?
No, Green Bay.
Packers
by
are favored.
4.5.
Okay. Dolphins at Steelers. Tom.
Say,
from the Who Cares department.
All right, JP, we'll be back in a minute. Finish up with the World Series talk on KTC.
Hey,
that's a dumpster.
Slams the door, they touch.
The NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series Playoffs.
Moffitt slides up the racetrack. Here comes Ross Chastain for third.
Playoff Race 5.
Ross Chastain noses out front for just a moment, but Moffitt battles back hard.
And NASCAR's truckers are playing rough in Martinsville.
He gives them a shot in the short.
The NASCAR Hall of Fame 200.
Bumper cars, chain reaction all the way back.
Saturday at 1 on the Motor Racing Network.
The NASCAR Hall of Fame 200 this Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock on Carolina Country WCSL, 92.3 FM, 1590 AM, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com. Who are you? You're not a goat. Oh, you say you feel like a goat since you didn't buy your car from Renato Auto Mall in Shelby. And now you're putting up with a bunch of bull. Don't be like my friend here. You get no bull at Renato Honda and Renato Kia at Renato Auto Mall in Shelby. 4423 East Dixon Boulevard. Don't let another dealer get your goat.
Here comes Duke.
All the way to the hoop. He's bombed. Count it! Superman soaring in for the dunk. Put it up and in to give Duke the lead.
Follow along all season long as the Blue Devils push for a 6th national championship.
Good! He got it! The buzzer! And the Blue Devils win it!
Duke basketball can be heard here on the Blue Devils Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
The most popular flooring sold today is the new LVT waterproof flooring, and it's now on sale at Flooring America on Slater Street in Kings Mountain and Carpet One Interiors on East Ozark Avenue in Gastonia. Now you can buy the new LVT waterproof flooring for only $2.99 a square foot. That's right, only $2.99 a square foot. And they do free estimates with installation available. See Flooring America on Slater Street in Kings Mountain or Carpet One Interiors on East Ozark Avenue in Gastonia for your new LVT waterproof flooring. Since 1934, that's right, 1934, Watson Insurance Agency has been providing the people of our area the best possible combination of insurance, risk management techniques, and personalized service in the most efficient manner possible. And today, the tradition continues. Watson Insurance is one of the largest independently owned brokers in the Southeast, representing over 30 of the largest and financially sound insurance carriers today. Before you buy, get a quote with offices in Gastonia, Lincoln, and Belmont and Lake Wiley. Find out more at WatsonInsurance.com.
Dang it.
What's the matter?
My GPS. It told me to turn right, but there wasn't a road there. Now it keeps telling me to make a U-turn.
Oh, well, do you have a map in your glove box?
I don't think so.
FEMA says you should always have a map on hand for emergencies and times like now when technology fails you.
Yeah, I could use one because my GPS only shows where I am. Sometimes I need to see more of the area. I'll buy one when we get back.
You don't have to buy one. There are great new maps out from Mass Marketing Incorporated, and you can get one free.
Do I have to give my email address or sit through a presentation or something?
Nope. Just stop by any of the businesses that sponsor them. Some include
the Don Gibson Theater on South Washington Street, Shelby. Hips Roofing on RD Road in Shelby. Wood Spring Suites on Sioux Lane Road in Shelby. At Crossroads Mini Mart on Foster Road in Shelby. At York Tax Service on Marys Grove Road in Shelby. And at Sandy's Country Christmas on West Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. I drive past them all the time.
Well, stop in.
You just think you know everything, don't you?
No, I'm just saying.
Do you have low or fluctuating water pressure? Maybe your pump runs continuously. Is your electric bill too high? Or maybe you even have dirty water. If you have any of those issues, then you need to call the Well Doctor for a free inspection. That number is 704-909-9258. The Well Doctor is the best of the best winner and features 24-hour emergency service with a 5-star rating and accredited by the Better Business Bureau. And best of all, free estimates. Call the Well Doctor, family owned and operated. Again, that number is 704-909-9258 for the Well Doctor. Online at welldoctor.biz.
Well, it looks like we're in the last leg of the race.
Hey, good morning, JP. We had good breakfast this morning. Mitchem's Kitchen breakfast brought to us by Terry Reinhardt. Let's talk a little baseball real quick before we get off the show. World Series action. We get in so much football, it gets pushed off. I feel bad for our baseball fans. I'm so sorry we end up getting pushed back a lot of times. World Series action, we haven't really got into too much. They play 2, 3, 4 games between shows, and we skipped series, so we didn't even get too much in Cardinals and Braves. Hardly got any in the Cardinals and Nationals.
Didn't need to talk about that one.
No, we didn't bring a single bat to the series. But now that this series has started, I do remember last weekend, and people I can't remember if it was quotes on our show or other shows, saying that the National League Championship Series was the JV matchup for the World Series. And that's all I kept saying. It was a lot on the Twitter stuff, talking about the Cardinals and Nationals. You know how American League people are.
Oh, I know.
The real championship is Yankees and Astros. And then the Nationals blanked the Cardinals in 4 games. I mean, we basically didn't get 5 hits on them. Yachty was the only person to hit a home run. 37-year-old catcher. There you go, guys. Wait for the rest of you to show up. But then they come in and they win the first 2 games on the road against Houston.
And not just everybody. Against Houston.
Y'all might want to take that back.
Not just against Houston. Against Greinke.
Yep.
Not Greinke.
My specific prediction was
and Verlander.
Someone asked me who's going to win, and I said, I don't know how the Astros plan on being the greatest pitching staff in Major League Baseball history.
Scherzer and Strasburg?
I don't know. They shut down the Cardinals. That's just what But dang, they've been on fire on the pitching staff on the mound field.
Well, I mean, my biggest thing tonight, I think that a lot of people aren't paying attention. Game 4 is going to be the swing game. You have swing votes and elections. Tonight's going to be the swing game because, the Nationals are sending Patrick Corbin to the mound. So there's a lefty coming in the matchup. He's been used as a starter reliever during the season. And this is the first start he's going to have since the game 1 at NLDS. He gave up 2 runs over 6 innings against the Dodgers. In his other start, in the NLCS against the Cardinals, he allowed 4 runs over 5 innings, striking out 12. Now, tonight for the Astros, they're starting the rookie, and if I screw his name up, I apologize, but Jose Urquidy, and he has been back and forth with the Astros all year long. He had 2 stints in the bigs, and he was sent back down after a terrible outing and his ERA jump. But against the Yankees, he went 2 2/3 innings of relief for them in a decisive Game 6 against the Yanks, striking out 5. He hadn't started a game since September 27th, and he went 6 scoreless innings against the Los Angeles Angels. So the big key tonight, I think, it's not the lineups. I think it's going to come in which one of these young, inexperienced pitchers in this type of atmosphere in the World Series, how do they come out and, put it out? Because the Astros have been known to jump on guys super early. We've typically saw that there's a lot of runs coming from the Astros early on in the lineup, and they jump on people early. But the Nationals right now, nuts of what they've done all season long, they're incredible with what they've been accomplished. They're liquid fire. So imagine what could happen here if this game does go in the Astros' favor. Then you get the marquee matchups again. You start seeing another game for Cole and then
Scherzer, Strasburg,
so you got Cole going Game 5, right? Or Game 6, and then you also have, Scherzer and Strasburg. I mean, we're going to get those marquees again. I think Verlander, he stumped his toe and stumbled early on in his start. Cole battled well, but he got into some jams he couldn't get out of. Across the board last night, that game, it really just started out bad. Soto makes that play. Let me ask you this, Coach Sinofani. If Soto makes the play in left field, he comes up clean and makes that throw. He's got the guy out by 4 steps. Does that silence the fans early on in the game?
A lot of things like that can turn the momentum in a game. You can point back to one play like that, and once momentum switches in any sport, it's hard to get it back. But I got to go with Kevin. I don't think anybody expected this. But when the Nationals played the Indians the last 3 games of the year and just destroyed them, and I was like, man, that team is better.
And
than
see,
a lot
that's
of people
one of the
think.
things to me that really, for me as a Braves fan, that hurt us was people sometimes they don't want to believe that momentum is real in a sport, and momentum couldn't be more real than what it is now. The last month of the regular season for baseball, Nationals, they were caught on fire.
You got to look at who's right.
They were
Who's
peaking at the
well.
right time. They were peaking at the right time.
Without
who you guys got to win it? Sorry.
Yep.
Win the whole thing or just win tonight?
No, I don't care about tonight.
Houston's got too much talent not to get back in.
Who's going to win the championship?
I think they'll get back.
I think you get a Game 7. Yeah. I would be interested to see. My gut tells me right now you take the high hand and go with the Nationals, but with all the talent in the pitch, if they win tonight and it goes back even, you're 2-2. I think if the Nationals allow the Astros to climb back even, the Astros win it outright, because I think that Scherzer's going to have his game. They're going to win one more. It could be 3-3 going into Game 7, but Game 7, I feel like the Astros hold the better hand there. They got I think personally they have the better bullpen. Their bullpen's a little bit better than the Nationals.
I think they got the better bats,
and
too.
Yeah, I mean, they've been punched. I mean, the Astros have been punched in the face. When have the Nationals been punched in the face in the playoffs? Altuve's home run against the Yankees. When LeMahieu hit the home run to tie it up, Altuve to come up. I mean, it shows that they have overcame the greatest amount of adversity in a season a team could do and still be where they are. If
Nationals are riding a high right now. They're going to come back down.
Right. If they tie it tonight, if Astros win tonight, they win the World Series.
I got Nationals all the way. You handle the Cardinals, you're the best.
That's
team.
fine.
That's always been my
pick before
Birds on bats, baby.
You handle the Cardinals.
My pick when they finally put the playoff matchups up, I said Astros are going to win the World Series.
I'm riding with the Braves in the first inning. Is all I got to say. Game 5.
I'm riding with my Astros pick, and that's who I've been rooting for since the Braves went out. I've been rooting for the Astros because they were my.
Let me ask you this: does anybody know where's the last 3 games played? Are they back in Washington?
What is it? It's 2-2. Is it 2-2 1-1-1? Is it 1-1-1? I think it would be Houston, Washington, Houston. So the last game would be back in Houston.
I think Hinch has done a great job of matching these guys up, and I feel like he's going to play that, and it'll be better off.
Hit the music, man. Have a happy Saturday, everybody. Happy Halloween. Let's see, what's today? 26th.
Halloween's next Thursday.
Hey, before we go, last
my
pick,
birthday's Monday.
and I'm gonna be since I got to be the guest today, I'm gonna run this round. We didn't mention this in our pick 'em, so go around the board. Duke, Carolina. Who are you taking?
At what sport?
In football
They play
today.
football
The battle for the bell, victory bell today. Who are we taking around the board?
Wait a minute. This is for 4th or 5th place in the state of North Carolina.
But it's for the state of North
Carolina.
We're just picking the game, Kevin. Can you just let us pick the game? Coming full circle to Chasserat again.
This is college football, and their participation trophies is what this is coming
this is a rivalry game.
At State.
Where's the game being played?
It's being played in Chapel Hill.
In Chapel Hill,
North Carolina.
Mac Brown, the quote-unquote senile coach.
68 years old.
I'm going to take the coach that knows what a quarterback looks like, David Cutcliffe. And
I can't take you seriously when you.
Well, just to make it even, I'll take Cutcliffe too.
See you guys at KDCBroadcasting.com.
And we are out.
It's a gigantic trick-or-treat sale, and that